Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
And Springer gets into another one.
On Sports 1440.
And the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Under pressure again. There's another pitch. Predators get by this one. Arvidsson streaks to the net. He scores.
Well, a hot Wednesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. As always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. Excuse me. Woo! Where'd that come from? It must be like a heat sneeze. I don't even know if that's a thing, but it is hot outside. Captain Obvious says hello. Hydrate yourself. Get some sunscreen on, especially for all of you Irish or Scottish descendants. I don't think, as Dave McCarthy said yesterday, not fans of the sun. It's, you know what? When you're in the shade or you're moving around, it's great. But there are certain times where it can be hot. Although it didn't get to 37, at least not yet. Anyway, and let's be real. I don't think it. Do any of you need 37? I don't need it. 33 is fine. I can live with that. So we don't have a lot of it. Although the next 10 days, it looks like it'll be a heat wave. If you're one of the people who love the heat, you are going to be loving the next few weeks. Now, if you like a little nostalgia in your life, I think you're going to like our first hour today, as we're going to go back in time a little bit. Depending on your age, many of you have played video games at different points of your life. Some still play it later in your life. Usually, you play it when you're a little bit younger, right? Then I always kind of joke, well, then life hits and you just don't have as much time to play video games as you did. And many of you, of course, have played NHL hockey. So there's a new documentary, and we'll talk about that today on kind of the start. And it wasn't the original one, but we'll start early in the video games there. I don't even know what was considered the first NHL video game, Cons. Was it like NHL 93 or was it 94? Is it before that? Like, I know I had in television, but it was just in television. It had hockey. Like, there wasn't any NHL connection to it. It was just hockey. So I'm curious. Anybody out there knows the original hockey, which was NHL related video game?
So I think the first was NHL hockey. You had Glenn Healy on the cover, actually, followed by NHL
Glenn
hockey.
Healy?
Yeah.
So is that 94 when he's playing for the Rangers?
It was 91.
91.
Looks like Kings.
Really?
Yeah.
Glenn, we might have to get Glenn on. How did he get on the cover? So that would be a great question.
It's actually kind of funny, like NHLPA hockey.
Mm-hmm.
It's NHLPA, but the Rangers logo seems to be blurred out. You got Brindamore, Richter, and Randy Moeller.
Yeah, well, I could see it being the fact that, you know what, you put it out there, but there's somebody who has 100% signed off on something, so you have to blot it out, and that's just a different time. Nowadays, and the original NHL, you didn't have all the players' names and stats and numbers. And like nowadays, if you're a young person who's playing the video games and maybe you've been playing for the last decade, it's a world apart. You just got to look at the graphics and anything else. So we'll talk about that coming up in the first hour. Colin Chock is going to join us. He's the head coach of the Bakersfield Condors. And we'll talk to him about, guy Matty Savoy. And there's going to be a change of the guard a little bit. If you look at that team and their roster right now, there's a lot of veterans, but Brad Malone has been there for kind of forever, it seems, right? Real face of that franchise. Well, he's no longer coming back, and they got quite a few other guys who had been signed, but doesn't look like they're coming back. So You know, there's going to be a few more. Like you look at Stonehouse and Chason and Steven James and Petrov. And the only guys who are signed who are Drake Kajula's in his final year. He's 30 years of age. You know, they re-signed Noah Philp, but Greg McKegg, Brad Malone, who else am I missing? Seth Griffin, right? None of those guys are currently signed. So that's some guys who've been there for quite a while, some veteran players, and it's going to be a younger team, especially up front. The back ends is definitely a little bit more veteran laden with Cam Deneen and you know, Phil Kemp's a veteran, Gleason's a veteran. You know, Marcus Niemelainen obviously is a Group 6 unrestricted free agent. I fully expect him to sign in Europe. I will say Max Weiner, that's a guy to watch for down in Bakersfield. So we'll talk to Colin Chock about that. And you know, if all of them are here, you have Lavoie, Savoy, as well as Bourgault. That's 3 right wingers. What are you going to do? Or do they view Matty Savoy as a center? We'll see how that happens. So Colin Chock will join us. We'll talk a little Senators and Red Blacks with AJ Jakubek. Speckaway by. We'll have Brody Clark talking Stingers. Did you watch that Stingers game? It was on TV last night. I don't know if you knew, but it was on TSN. And tough loss for the Stingers. Yaremchuk will be by. We'll talk hockey. Of course, we will talk throughout the show about last night's tilt, Canada, Argentina, in the semifinals of Copa Americas. Argentina wins 2-0. And when you watch that game, Canada did not embarrass themselves by any stretch of the imagination. To me, the difference in the game was just the ball possession and more missed passes and missed opportunities from Canada, whereas Argentina, you know, sure, they had a giveaway that led to actually to one of Canada's early chances. But I felt just like the ball control, the touch on the ball, passes in and out. They're the number 1 ranked country in the world. And that was the one difference. I didn't notice a significant difference in speed. I think Canada's just as quick, top to bottom. I think, skill wise overall, there's just more consistency in the skill play from Argentina. Or like you look at their first goal, and I know that there's some, there should have been a foul called earlier on, against Richie Larea. Fair. But again, you could look and say, well, what about the time that Messi got taken down? Messi got taken down, which is a clear foul. He got tripped, and there was no call there. So I don't know what it is. Lately, there just seems to be a lot of it's all the referees. The first thing you talk about, the officials weren't even in the top 10 reasons Canada lost last night. They weren't. You can nitpick about, I thought that'd be a foul. Sure. It's not like they're in the box. It's not like these are free kicks. It's just a possession play. And, how many times is Canada been scoring offset kicks? Not very often. So I really didn't think the officiating was that bad. Argentina had the ball more. Canada's in a position to foul more. And as I mentioned, like the probably the blatant one that got away with was the one on Messi. So overall, though, now I'll be watching that bronze medal game, third place battle to see kind of, you want to bounce back. Again, I don't think they played poorly. I just think it was one where Argentina is a better team. So now Canada will have a slight advantage because they will play the loser of Uruguay, Colombia. They're playing tonight. And so Canada will have 1 extra day's rest. Doesn't matter that much? Probably not, because the semifinal will go, well, not semifinal, excuse me. The third place match will go Saturday at 6 o'clock Edmonton time. And then you'll have the gold medal game on Sunday. Man, the way Colombia looked really good against Panama. If I had to pick, I'd probably pick Colombia to win this game tonight, but I'll be watching now. It's not like you can do a lot outside, so I'll be watching, and I'll look forward to that game on Saturday. So you'll have that. You have, of course, the Elks in action. Now, we got a lot of texts already coming in our eWell inbox, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Some of you obviously missed the Chris Jones interview live. You heard it last night. Hey, guys, after listening to the Chris Jones interview, Greg, I like how you followed up with your second question. Aren't you the coach, and doesn't the player have to do it? So it sounds like Jones maybe isn't the biggest fan, but what do you make of the fact that a player tells the coach, I don't want to do this set package, I only want to go in here? should Trey Ford not take some criticism for his viewpoint? Nick, it's a fair question. It's funny because I was at Carrie's golf tournament today and I ran into a few of the Elks alumni. And that was my exact question. You know what they said? They're like, yeah, man, like, you know, if the coach says, hey, we want to run this package, he goes, I never played with a quarterback who's like, no, I don't want to do that. So, yeah, I do think it's a little bit both. I will say it's clear that Jones has never been the biggest fan of Trey Ford as a quarterback. They drafted him. Then they wanted to change him positions. There was even some plays they wanted him on special teams, I'm told. And he's like, no. And I totally get it. He's a quarterback. I understand you don't want to be perceived as a running quarterback, even though that's one of his biggest skills. But can't you have a set package that sometimes includes a pass? And if you want to get on the field as a player, you know what? Hey, roll out. You can still throw it. Doesn't mean you have to run it. Right? Get on the field, make some plays. Because the one thing Trey Ford has done when he gets in the field, he makes plays. And the Elks have won more games with him than without him over the last few seasons. The record speaks for itself. And if they lose this game on Sunday, to me, it's inexcusable then if Trey Ford's not your starter. Because you can talk about Bethel Thompson and you can look at a lot of the stats. I don't care what his passing yards are when the win is 0. And that game against BC, there were 2 clear plays that could have led to the Elks winning that game. And both were overthrows by the veteran quarterback with lots of time, no pressure in the pocket. Does Trey Ford make that pass? I don't know, maybe. And that one pass is way more important than 4 or 5 that, you know, get you out of bad deep position and then you punt the ball. So at the end of the day, wins should matter in professional sports. And so I'm very fascinated to see kind of how it goes from here in regards to what they'll do at the quarterback position. Because Chris Jones here, and hey, the way this season's going, I don't see any reason how he'd be past this season when the new owner comes in, right? Which is probably still at least a month away. My understanding, nothing is officially signed yet. They're going down that road, but nothing's officially signed. So until it's official, it ain't official. Because my understanding is that there's kind of new things that keep coming to the forefront, and the budget. Because that's the one question many have asked. Well, how does the money work? Essentially, what happens is you're committing to putting in a fund this much money, and it's going to cost you this much. I've been told less than 20 mil. They feel to kind of get things back on track. The number one thing that would help stop the bleeding would get fans in the stands. Number one. And I do believe when there's a new owner, I think there is some apathy that is set in amongst football fans in this community. And I think it's fair, it's valid. They don't owe they're going to look and say, well, I need to see some change. And number one, you need to see some wins. Last year, they started to get fans in the second half of the season. Why? Because Trey Ford and they won games. Those were the 2 reasons. Trey Ford became a player that many of you wanted to watch. And at least they had a chance to win games. Right? They won 4 of their last 10 games. Not unbelievable, but not bad at all. Hey, guys, can we please get Drake to stop betting on anything Canada sports related? It's killing our chances from bad Niv. Yeah, I'm probably the wrong guy, but I guess I'm always like, Drake, do you need attention that bad? We know you're a multimillionaire, dude. We know it. Like, you putting down 500 grand, like, I don't know. That's like me putting down and saying, hey, look, I just put a $500 bet on. Like, I don't know. I find it odd that you're telling everybody what you're, ooh, look at me, I'm betting this much. Dude, we all know how much money you have. Like, that's whatever. It's all relevant. So, yeah. I could see how some people believe that it's not helping. But honestly, I don't think his bet had anything to do with their inability to just convert. I think that was the biggest thing last night. Colin, what did you take away from that game?
We're talking soccer. I thought, it was a respectable effort. I mean, I did not expect Canada to win by any means, and 2-0, that's okay by me. Would love to see them find the way to hit the back of the net. And I know some of their strikers have taken a lot of criticism throughout the COPA tournament, and maybe will continue to do so until they perform on the big stage. But all in all, I think that was a pretty good development for Canada, showing that they can hang with one of the top team in the world on the biggest stage in front of a big crowd. I was very impressed by it. I think this is really good for Canadian soccer. You and I long have talked about the growth that basketball had from the success of the Raptors, Vince Carter and Steve Nash, those sorts of things. This is only going to help the Canadian soccer, where, young kids see this and think they can get out there and go do it. So I think for Canada, it was outstanding. Really looking forward to seeing what happens on Saturday. Personally, I'm thinking that it's going to be Uruguay staying in Carolina, because that's where the bronze or third place game is going to be. Canada's going to head there. But it was awesome for me. I didn't want to take anything negative out of it. I didn't want to be critical of the players who, maybe weren't at their best, because all in all, it was just a heck of a run for Canada at this tournament.
Very good. We got some great texts. Hey, boys, classic in television. I had the ice hockey. Best part of the game is you'd shoot the puck at the stick man goalie. He'd fall down. He'd have to shoot again to score. Classic from Nikki Baleen Hay. Oh, my goodness. Baleen Hay today, Nikki. Whew. Stay hydrated, my man. That's a hot job today. As I was sitting on the golf course, I was still weird because we talked about the toughest jobs when it was this hot weather outside. And I'm like, you know what? Golf, I could go in the shade, get in the cart. You put the windshield down, you flip it down. You're like, hey, you're getting a little bit of a breeze. And hey, let's be honest, I'm not working. I'm golfing. It ain't nothing compared to the people that are working out here. Hey guys, I played Wayne Gretzky hockey on the original Nintendo, and Gretzky was a king at that point. Yeah, so that was in the 90s, right? And like Blades of Steel, I know was the first ice hockey video game, but I don't think it was NHL related. You know what I mean? Like where it has NHL logos, had NHL names. That, and we'll find out here coming up next. I think, though, and I might be wrong, but I thought it was 95. But we'll find out next. Hey, guys, my first NHL hockey was NHL 94. Chicago was so good. Roenick was a god. The next year on 95, if you caught guys square, you could make their heads bleed. We were always hunting Gretzky. If you could catch him, it was easy to make him bleed. Husband of the OT MILF. Oh, man. Classic. Hey, guys, I have to say, I gave it the old college try this COPA, but 1 goal in 3 games to make a semi is ridiculous. As for the refs, they're too significant in every game. Then again, with all the diamond players, I don't know how they do it. It's got so much unsportsmanlike parties, play by all parties, for me to have any respect for it. The unbeautiful game, IMAC. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's going to watch. Like, it's not your game, then fine. But if you go into soccer being offended by the diving, then the issue is you as a viewer. It's part of their culture. You don't have to like it, then just don't watch it. But don't be like, I like soccer, but not the diving. It's not going to change, right? It's embedded in there. Now, they've done some things. They actually hand out yellow flags for excessive diving, but it's rare. I really don't think the officials played any role in last night's game in the outcome. None whatsoever. Whether you call a missed tackle here or there, Argentina was the better team. They were the full stop better team. I don't think the officiating had very much to do with it at all. When we come back, we will talk. We'll go back to your childhood, depending on your age, or maybe your parents' childhood, depending on your age, and go back in time for a documentary that is coming out that many of you sports fans, specifically hockey fans and gamers, will want to watch. Coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 12. Not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you'll tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
What a season. What a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds, recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Your business is unique. It has its own challenges and its own risks. Does your commercial insurance reflect that? At High Street Insurance, we believe in a personalized approach. As an independent broker, we take the time to create a partnership with you. We get to know your business and ensure that your insurance coverage is specifically designed to protect what matters to you. Insurance that's dependable, transparent, and tailored to suit your unique needs. Good protection starts with understanding you. Reach out to us today at highstreetinsurance.com.
Ennio and Jason are friends.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy? Except when they talk hockey.
Edmonton had all those first overall picks, and they still can't win.
Yeah, but we still beat you. Battle of Alberta champs, baby.
But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wheelhawk beef jerky.
It might be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wheelhawk beef jerky today in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
Summer starts with the service department at Vision RV. Hi, Larry Ricci here. Before you set out for another season of camping, traveling, and exploring, be sure to book your RV in for servicing. Maybe it's a peace of mind inspection, or does your RV need some TLC? At Vision, we have 10 state-of-the-art service bays, a drive-through appointment bay, and a fully stocked parts department, plus a cozy customer lounge while you wait. Summer service, Vision RV, just south of the Yellowhead on Highway 60.
Stingray All Good Vibes with Prime Video channels is your ticket to thousands of concerts and karaoke songs. Benefit from the Prime Day promotion between July 10th to 17th. Subscribe today to receive 2 months of service at 99 cents per month. Welcome.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on a hot, smoking hot Wednesday. You know what? This is completely, you know what? I would say wherever you're working, tarps off. Honestly, this is one of those days where you can't even, I don't think you can argue. Be like, sorry, tarp off day. And most people are like, yeah, knock your socks off. That's how it goes. So away we go. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and did you know that all sizes of premium roast coffee McDonald's have a new lower price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. So stop in today for your favorite coffee only app. And coffee drinkers, like, they rave about this stuff. I've never had a cup, but my buddy's like, oh yeah, McD's coffee, now it's cheaper. So when was the last time you had a price reduction in something you liked? So, and it's not just on sale for a bit. So there you go. Now, our next guest, of course, you listen to and watch him on the NHL. But today we'll be talking about the NHL, but in video game form. As Arda Okal joins us, he is the ESPN host, also on the Drop. Joins us, Arda. Welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Jason, it's always great to be with you. I spent the last week at Disney World. I'm not complaining about that, but I will say 40-degree weather. Anywhere else in the world, 100% tarps off. Can't get away with that at Disney World.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you have to wear a shirt, don't you? You can't go shirtless at Disney World, can you?
You got to up the tact. You got to be respectful.
Okay.
In the House of the Mouse.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I kept the tarp on, and let me tell you.
What about a muscle shirt? Like, did you go Terry Ryan style? You go muscle shirt?
If I had muscles, I would do that. Yes.
All right. Well, Art, you're narrating. This is we were talking about this earlier, and obviously depending on maybe the age of someone, because we were trying to go back and say, like, what was the original? Like, I played in television hockey in the late 80s, obviously dating myself, and it was hilarious. Like, it wasn't NHL hockey, it was just intelligent hockey. And then, we were looking at when the NHL kind of really teamed up, and now you have the names and the players. Heck, you can change them. They got rankings. It's crazy what it was. But you've got a very unique project here, kind of going back to 1995 in NHL. So tell me about it.
So to answer your question first, NHL 94, which is propped up as like the gold standard of retro hockey video games, or really sports video games. That was the first video game to include NHL hockey teams and hockey player names in conjunction with the NHLPA. Before that, it was either the teams or the players, which is why you got NHL hockey, then NHLPA 93, and then finally they both came together for NHL 94. And the reason that game was so popular was because it introduced the one-timer, it had terrific controls, and it was just a smooth playing game with good graphics and great music for its time. Like, that's really why people hold it up, even as it holds up today, and there's still tournaments of people playing it, and et cetera. So the documentary that we just released at ESPN with my great producer, editor, Justin Cloutier, is essentially the NHL's answer to NBA Jam. So I'm sure many people listening right now remember NBA Jam. It was wildly successful. It's probably revered as one of the best sports video games of all time. It made $1 billion with a B in revenue in year one in arcades in quarters. Like, that's how popular the game was in 1993. So based on that success, the company Midway that created the game, they also created video games like Mortal Kombat and Rampage and a bunch of other like arcade classics. They decided, well, why don't we use this formula of 2-on-2, over-the-top, cartoony, hilarious type of gameplay to every other sport? And so that's where they thought of hockey. So they went to the NHL and the NHL Players Association, and they said it was a pretty easy sell because of the success of NBA Jam. So both parties said, yeah, sure. Really comes down to financials for us. And essentially, NHL 2-on-2 Open Ice Challenge was born. And that's the NHL's answer to NBA Jam, which was released in 1995.
Okay. So it comes out in 1995. And tell us a little bit about the documentary that's coming out, because, we have a lot of people that I think it's a great trip down memory lane and nostalgic, especially if you played video games at that time, or even play them now to kind of see how far it's come.
Exactly. So the documentary's out now on our NHL and ESPN YouTube channel. It's basically a half-hour documentary on how the game was made, and if you had any connection to this game at all, or if you're like, wait a minute, there was an NHL version of NBA Jam and I've never heard of this, you'll definitely want to hear how the game was made. We talked to the executive producer, the person that put together all the graphics and the layouts. The most interesting part to me personally was how they did the motion capture. It's not like today where they have like a bunch of computers around and there's bulbs on you. And it's like what EA does today to capture, players and faces. They had to put somebody on synthetic ice in a warehouse and have them dress up in different colors so they could edit out his head and put NHL players' heads on and change the logos on his like multicolored jersey. And he had to do the moves 8 different times at 8 different angles. They put a harness on him because in the game you can flip in the air before you do a slap shot. So he had to simulate flipping in the air on a harness 8 different times. And the funniest story to me is they wanted to, he had to basically really lean into these strides, but he only had like 15 feet to work with because that's how much synthetic ice they had. So they lathered the synthetic ice with baby oil. They just doused it with baby oil. And he would do this stop, and the baby oil would fly everywhere in the warehouse because he's stopping. It's almost like snowing a goaltender.
Yeah.
But imagine doing that, but just with baby oil.
Yeah.
It's just what a weird scene.
Yeah, it was crazy. So when you got asked to be part of this project, were you a big gamer in 95 and watching? Is that a little bit before your time? And is it interesting when you go back and you watch just the graphics in the game? And I don't mock it. Some people, kids, are like, oh my God, I can't believe you played that way. But you're like, well, yeah, that was the best thing they had. And in 25 years, the graphics today are going to be looked upon as not nearly as good as they are in 2050.
Oh, absolutely. The graphics hold up in terms of it's still a time capsule, obviously. It's not to the degree that we have graphics now. You look at NBA Jam versus today and you're like, yeah, these are realistic faces in 2024. But it's still the charm of the game and why it still has a cult following today. And it really hasn't had a re-release. NBA Jam, you can actually buy an NBA Jam cabinet for your house for a few $100. It's been re-released in HD and, it's had this whole resurgence. And the NHL version hasn't necessarily, but people go and find the old arcade machines from the 90s and the old tube CRT non-HD televisions and restore them so they can play this game. And the reason they do is because they just love the 2-on-2 format. They love the controls. It's a lot of fun to them. It has a he's on fire mechanic. If you score a hat trick, a natural hat trick, you'll score from anywhere and have a flaming puck and the net goes on fire. It's very arcadey. It's very over the top. But the way that it was all put together is an interesting story, which is why we decided we wanted to do this mini documentary, so to speak, on our ESPN YouTube channel. So that honestly, it was a passion project, really, Jason.
Okay. Arda Ocal joins. So give us a little bit of a teaser for those who want to watch it. Is there anything that people will be able to go down memory lane very easily about? What stood out for you when you made this?
Oh yeah, the way that the motion capture was done is a great part of it. The involvement of Gordie Howe. So NBA Jam has a whole subculture of celebrities that were put in the game, and this was during the Wild West of there's no permissions or anything like that. They just put people in the game, their heads in the game.
Yeah.
In this case, they actually connected with Gordie Howe and his wife, and the story of him being involved and as a secret character in the game is a really cool one. So if you're, a Gordie Howe fan, as I'm sure many hockey fans are, they will appreciate that. And they'll also appreciate some of the rosters in the game because that's sort of a time capsule of the mid-90s. Do you want to take a stab at who the Edmonton Oilers representatives were?
Bill Ranford?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Bill Ranford. So a 90. Ooh, geez. God, maybe
95. Yes. Yeah. So the game was released in 95.
Yeah. So Arnott maybe in Ranford.
Yep. Jason Arnott, Bill Ranford. Correct. There's 2 more.
Smitty wouldn't have been
pretty famous Oiler back in the time. Pretty good Oiler back in the time.
Ryan Smith.
Doug Waite.
Doug Waite. Oh yeah, Waite was here. Okay. Now is it the other one a defenseman?
Yeah, unsure. There's a couple more actually.
Huh? Because the Oilers
let me
93 to 96 was some of the worst years for the Oilers. So I'm trying to think of they didn't have a lot of good players at that time. So Arnott, of course.
The other is a defenseman. Yes, the other one is a defenseman.
Oh geez, who was their best defenseman back then?
God. Not Canadian.
It was Roman Hamrlik.
The correct answer is Igor Kravchuk.
Igor Kravchuk. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
That is That's going deep on the blue line of the Oilers. I like it.
I know.
So
can I give you a hilarious? So the funniest roster to me in the entire game is the New York Islanders, because it's like if you were to pick a representation of the Islanders, this would not be it. It's like the furthest from any Islanders fan thinking of their team. Their players are Wendell Clark and Kirk Muller.
Wow.
In the fisherman's jerseys.
Yes. Oof, that was a bad look. That was a
like of all the people to pick though, Jason, like of anybody, anyone at all, those are the two least Islanders connected players that you could have picked.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think in the mid 90s on those teams, like Pierre Turgeon would have still been there, wouldn't he have?
Possible?
Yeah, because maybe when he get traded to Montreal, he might have got traded in 94, 95. So maybe he got traded.
I think Derek King is on.
Derek King.
I think Derek King was on that too. Yeah. So he would have been like the main.
Like even was Stumpy Thomas, or maybe he was gone too. So
no,
I don't know. Because those guys, they had a few years. I might have been right before they left. But yeah, like Ray Ferrara, a good friend of the show, he came after because he was there. You know, like David Volek, you might as well just put him on just for his huge goal to upset Pittsburgh in '93.
Ironically, Ray Ferraro, my ESPN colleague, is in the game. He's with the Rangers. Very fun. Like didn't have a long stint with the Rangers, but yeah, exactly. But he's on the Rangers roster in this game.
Okay. It's what's interesting is, and I watched the creation that you guys have on YouTube, that 24-minute one, and it was interesting watching it, listening to the people who helped develop these things, and how much it's but to me, what stood out the most when I watched it was the skates and the yellow blades, right? Because some guys had blue blades, and back then used to have colorful blades, and I've always been like, if there's one thing the NHL should bring back. Because we're seeing it. Some guys have a little bit of colored boots now that match their team colors. I don't know why you wouldn't have more guys with colored blades. That'd be unreal nowadays.
Oh yeah, and they did that so they could easily edit out the pixels or change the colors.
Yes.
When they loaded it into the computer.
Oh.
So that's why his jersey is like 10 different colors, so they could change it as easily as possible when they loaded it in. Like that's how, I guess, comparative to today, primitive it was back then, but they went every single pixel, like painstaking detail. It's crazy.
That is crazy. So what did you learn specifically that you didn't know once you got involved in the documentary?
So it was interesting to hear how, like, I think that this game was really a victim of timing because, NBA Jam continued, and it had different versions like Tournament Edition, and it was just a very successful franchise. But the NHL, though it had modest success in the arcades, but it wasn't to the degree of NBA Jam. Many games like NBA Jam it's on its own island. But at some point in the next year, they decided they wanted to release 2-on-2 open ice for the home for the PlayStation. But that also coincided with the parent company buying Atari Games. And Atari Games had Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey. So it was this unfortunate sort of, not necessarily like a competition, but there were two home hockey games being released essentially at the same time. And so I think that sort of hurt NHL 2-on-2 open ice because not because it wasn't as good as the other game, but the other game had 99 attached to it, So it didn't necessarily have its time in the sun as much as it possibly could have without any competition, so to speak. But it still has a cult following today. And I was surprised by the lengths people go. Like they'll go to retro video game conventions and find the proper buttons and the proper joysticks and the proper, motherboards. Oh yeah, they go to they go to like retro gaming conventions and they try and find all the proper equipment, motherboards, cords, all of this stuff, side art, just to replicate as best as possible the arcade machine from the 90s.
Well, I will say I would love to give my son the Intellivision controller, which was the disc, which was the worst. And I'm like, you want to play video games? We want to see how good you are. Now we'll see how good you are. because it was the worst. Don't get me wrong. But as a kid, that's all I knew. And I remember when I got a joystick, I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. But having to play on that disc to start because that's all you knew, you're like, fine. But if kids had to play on that now, they would be like, I can't do this. I can't go back.
No,
you can't.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Hockey games started to get decent with the NES, like the original Nintendo, like Super Mario 1, 2, 3. Like Blades of Steel was a solid game.
Oh, we got so many texters that like they rave about that was their game. 100%.
Yeah. And the Edmonton Oilers are not blue and orange in the game. For some reason, they have the CFL Edmonton was a green and yellow colors. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was weird.
But they do.
Now
they do.
Do you have I watched the video earlier and I have my notes here. Is that red and black gaming chair your own, or was that just you were using that in the studio, or is that your own? Like, are you that big of a gamer?
Oh, I'm a massive gamer. Hockey and gaming and Star Wars are like my holy trinity.
Okay.
So I actually listen, my midlife crisis was not, I need a new car or I need a Rolex or nothing like that.
Okay.
I wanted to build an arcade. So I'm looking at them right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 arcade machines.
In your your man cave?
In my house.
Okay.
Yeah, in my man cave, I have 7 arcade machines. I have an electronic pinball machine, and I have a Super Chex bubble hockey, which is like my pièce de résistance. And for people listening right now that are like, oh, wow, like how much did that cost? Honestly, less than you would think. The company that I bought these from, they're all remakes. So it's not like original arcade machines from the 90s. Those are way too clunky and have way too much upkeep.
Okay.
These are like HD versions with the same side art, and they're 3/4 of the size, and they only cost like, I don't know, a few $100s each.
Really?
Like you can buy them you can buy them online, or you can buy them at your, whatever, Walmart, Costco kind of thing.
Okay.
And by the way, I'm not paid by this company. I'm just a big fan of their stuff.
Yeah.
And they have all like the games that you would love: Pac-Man, Turtles in Time, X-Men, NBA Jam, Street Fighter 2, NFL Blitz, like all those games that you may have grown up loving in the arcades. You can buy a machine. And to me, it's almost like half playing the games, but also sometimes I'll just turn them all on, Jason, and I'll just like raise the volume, and I'll just stand there and be like, this is my happy place. Because when I was a kid, I would love to walk into the arcade and listen to all the random sounds happen,
Well, a few years ago, my wife bought me a stand-up one, and so they personalized the front face of it, and it has all the old, because Galaga was my favorite game. And so, but it has all like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Donkey Kong. Yeah. It actually has all of the, it has Nintendo, Atari, like all of the old ones all in one program. And so I think there's like 1,800 games. Obviously I don't come close, which is sad because I play about 6 of them. But
what was your favorite game growing up? What was like your number one game?
Galaga. Well, in television, but Galaga, like when I went to an actual arcade. So in television would have been my favorite game at home because that was the only console we had. So that was it. But when I went to an actual arcade, and the first one I ever went to was called Odyssey in a place in Leduc, just outside of Edmonton. And Galaga I just fell in love with it. I love that game. It's very simple. The old track and field. You remember the track and field game where you had to go like, and then you had to roll the ball? Oh, it was unbelievable. Man. So yeah, those were probably my 2 favorites.
So much.
Yeah.
It was like if you didn't have like the twitch reflex, you'd be doomed.
Yes. I was never like, okay. Like you'd have your buddies and they were just way better. And I was like, how can I not hit the buttons as quick as them? So it was just like pissing you off. Like, this shouldn't be that hard. You could never run quick enough. Oh, then you had to have the timing right. Because if you didn't have your timing right, then all of a sudden you're getting screwed over in the high jump or something. And but yeah.
The absolute worst. I feel that pain, man. I feel that pain. So, and then there was the pad. If you bought the pad for the NES and you can like run with your feet and you think it'd be better, but you're not. Oh my gosh.
Now we have a lot of people where can people watch this? Is it available today?
Yeah, it's on the NHL on ESPN YouTube. It's about a 25-minute documentary on the history or the creation of the game.
Okay.
And we talked to the executive producer. His name is Jack Hagar. We talked to the guy that did the motion capture, who was a Division III college hockey player, and then he played roller hockey, and that's how he got discovered to do the motion capture. We talked to the person that did all of the graphics for the game. There's actually like a couple of people. One of them is a Grammy-nominated music producer, and he loves the game so much it's like his centerpiece in his home arcade. So we talked to him about like the legacy of the game. Like there's a bunch of people that I was hoping that this would essentially be the definitive oral history of the creation of the NHL's version of NBA Jam. So hopefully people who are motivated to watch it, it's on the NHL and the ESPN YouTube, and hope you enjoy it.
I will be. I'll be tweeting that out once we're done here. I found it, and I just found the link again because obviously I'd watched it earlier, but I didn't memorize the link, so it's easier when you say NHL on ESPN link, because that's obviously for anybody who just wants to go to YouTube. I can send out the link, but if you just want to Google it yourself, just go to NHL on ESPN. There's like 800,000 subscribers. That's when you know you're on the right page. And away you go. So, Arda, we appreciate that. Has this piqued your interest? Are you going to be doing more gaming documentaries?
I would happily do so, and I will be knocking on your door when I do a history of Galaga.
Oh,
now
dude!
That I know
hey,
this about you.
Galaga, that was the one game for a long time. Like there was different places around. Even when I was in my 20s and 30s, you go to certain bars and they'd have the tabletop game. And I had a few high scores around the city, right? There's a few other players that you could always see, like they would by their initials. One guy's initials was always XYJ, and I'm like, God, this guy's like, he's at a few places. You tell he was good. So I never figured out who XYJ was, but in the Galaga circles, which there's probably a very small circle, he was.
I hope you're doing like a call-in show one day, and someone just randomly calls in. John from Red Deer, you're on the show, and then all of a sudden he's like, "I'm XYJ. You could never beat me, Jason."
It's probably true. Hey, we've done a few tracking down on the show, artists, so that would be one that I'd be interested in. I don't have any starting point other than XYJ. So anybody out there who knows a buddy who was in Galaga and who was good at it, and that was when he'd win, he'd just put the high score XYJ. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome stuff, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the off season.
Thank you. Anytime.
There you go. That's Art Arkell from the NHL on ESPN. So you have it. We'll tweet it out if you want to watch it, but you can just, it's very easy. Just go to YouTube and you can find it, NHL on ESPN. It's called Unveiling the Creation of the 1995 NHL Open Ice. And, I watched it earlier. It's pretty cool. But it's cool because if you're like, it's not just about that game. It shows you a lot of the other games around at that time, and the guys who develop it. Like it's like people who can code today. Like that is a real skill. I know some people are like, it's kind of nerdy. I'm like, no, to me, it's brilliant. Like, and the amount of work that goes into it is stunning to me. And then how you do this stuff and then it comes to life and you're like, what? Schmucks like me get to use it. So it's fantastic. And the old school, like the stand-up video games that they have, like they were showing it when I was watching the documentary, Cons, and they had the old pole position. Anybody who played that stand-up, you must have played pole position, Cons.
Sounds like a racing game.
Yeah.
I don't know if
you never played pole position. Oh, okay, maybe it's a bit before your time. All right. And anybody out there in the 80s, 90s, pole position, maybe even early 2000s, but it's a classic racing game. Quick break. We'll come back on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical Project team at your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The Bricks Appliance Super Sale is here for all your home outfitting needs. Check out amazing deals on all major appliances, like chest freezer starting at just $199 and washer and dryer packages for under $1,500. Plus, shop incredible deals in other departments, like up to $920 off sofas and sectionals. This summer, the Bricks Appliance Super Sale has got you covered, whether you're looking for items as big as a fridge or as small as a kettle. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Centre's new cutting-edge features.
Please enjoy your day.
Spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Oh, j'aime mes cheveux.
Plus voyez Valasia.
No kami. Psycho.
Translation: I love my hair, and Dr. Vance Elliott is the reason why. He's an authority on hair restoration procedures, and not just in Edmonton. He teaches other doctors around the world how to perform successful hair transplants.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I want to be the reason why you love your hair. Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
The boogie to the boogie, say up.
Welcome back. It's Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And for those of you, if you are recording the Euro game, here's your spoiler. You got 5 seconds to want to turn it off just for a second. All right. And then because a big match going on right now, and woo, they could be celebrating big time, Connor Halley, in England as a goal in the 90th minute to give them a 2-1 lead. Watkins, a late substitute, comes in, and man, he will be having his name chanted across the country if they hold on to this win.
Quite the finish. Quick touch.
Yeah.
Far corner. Keeper had no chance.
Oh, it was a great goal. Like if though, you know what? If you're gonna lose a game on a play like that, sometimes just like it's a really good play. Like yeah, it sucks, but it's a really good play for them. So I like it. Like it a lot. We got loads and loads of text 833-401-1440 in our inbox. Hey guys, we used to code in the 80s in computer class when you would enter in a page of characters and it would produce a solid red line on our Commodore 64. I hated that class. Hey boys, I grew up in the vending business. My stepdad owned the business. I'm the guy who told you about the Galaga cheat code. Great memories. I have my own vending business now. I deal with bars and lounges from Bobby K. Oof. I do. You know what, Bobby? I've never used the cheat code. I just felt, you know what? I wanted to be able to try to beat it myself. And I've yet to master the game, but I like it. Hey guys, how can you disparage the Intellivision disc? Auto Racing, Triple Action, Tron, Deadly Disc, Space Hawk, Sewer Sam, all games where their amazing gameplay depends on the disc. Well, you know what? Valid that it was important in some. I wasn't disparaging it. I was just saying it was hard. Like compared to what they use now. Like my son he got a PS5. We waited till he was 10. He was waiting. He wanted one. I'm like, you can get one at 10. So he helps up and he had to pay for a little bit, basically our money, but whatever. And he got it. And so I see the controllers and it's just like, I'm playing this and you have you got to be a little bit more ambidextrous for sure at times, but it's just different. There's so many things going on and he plays a few games. I'm just like, I'm out. Like there's very few games. So I always wheel over to my console. I'm like, yeah, we'll play Galaga. Now you get into my territory and I got a shot. But like the new games nowadays, like I'm sure if I played it often enough, I could get better, but I don't have the same interest. I don't mind watching him play for a little bit. It's great. Hey boys, the sit down coffee table Pac-Man game, classic. Oh yeah, they still have them. There's Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man. Outstanding. Donkey Kong is one. I never really liked Donkey Kong. I don't know why. Never played it. Didn't love it. Hey, guys, I was loving that conversation with Arda. I still play the old hockey games. Blades of Steel, Genesis, NHL 94. PlayStation had NHL Open Ice. N64, Wayne Gretzky 3D Hockey. And Xbox, NHL Hits Pro. I could listen to this topic for a long time. Anthony in Ontario. Anthony, I love it. Now, that's a dedicated player. Going through all the Blades of Steel, I think for those, and it's like anything in life, right? They talk about the psychology of the music that you listened to when you were 16 to 21 usually remains your favorite music of your life. Now you have other stuff that you respect, and maybe some of you are different, but they've done all these studies on it and they say that time, I don't know what it is about brain development, what have you, but it really connects with you. And I would think it would be the exact same way with certain video games that you played then. And even if things have changed and now the graphics of the new games are better, you don't like it as much. Makes sense, right? A little bit of a comfort, but it probably resonates with memories you had playing with your buddies. Right? Like I still remember a little bit older. We used to have parties at our house and we'd go out afterwards, but like 7:00 at night. And guys would bring over their other console and you would play Crash Bandicoot with like 6 or 7 guys. It was unbelievable. Like in your 20s, it was like the best time killer, man. I loved it, right? Because it doesn't matter if you were leading the race at certain times. Sometimes you didn't want to be because then everybody's shooting at you and throwing the lasers and the different things. Oh, I love that game. That's the one game that if I could get together with my buddies, I would say, let's play that again. Because it was glorious. Because there was some skill involved, yes. But a lot of it just came down to, also like strategically about, hey, sometimes it's better to be in second or third, right? Because everybody's going after the leader. And then he gets hit once and boom, last lap, you pass him. People are freaking out. Oh, it's great. Great. So, hey, guys, I still play Blades of Steel on the original Nintendo. I like it. Hey, guys, it's not just nostalgia. It's comfort. All of my favorite games are 2009 to 14 when I was in high school with my friends. Yeah, well, comfort probably plays a part in it too, from Montana to Rice. Hey, guys, what about Asteroids from Nooch and Camrose? Nutra, that is a classic game. So for those who played it, right, you had the different color boulders, but then remember the little white one? It had like the beaking signal on it, right? Oh, it's a hard one to hit, but if you did, it was glorious, because if you didn't, it was game over. Guys, different era for sure, but how can anybody not love Mario? Well, yeah, Mario Kart for sure. Mario Brothers was pretty big. The original Mario Brothers, that had to be one of the best games of all time for people playing it. Like, I'd be curious. Maybe we'll look it up and try to find out. But I'm curious, what would be, do you think? And obviously now it's probably changed because there's more people playing it. But I wonder, like, based on the amount of people who had a console and different things, what was the most popular video game of all time? Or the best seller, maybe is the better word than popular. Cons, try to find out what was the best selling video game.
I can tell you. So right now, according to my research, Minecraft.
Really?
300 million units. Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
A game I still play, second highest. And then Tetris, actually, third highest.
Tetris. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. I got into it probably too late. So I liked it, but I never loved it. And I'll be honest, Tetris, no. And I get why people would like it, right? Because it's pretty straightforward. I don't know. I didn't, it couldn't hold my interest at all. So
it's fun for a bit. Like I won't lie to you. Sometimes I dabble, but then it gets too crazy and then I'm good to play. Like I don't need to play it for another week. Like it's just kind of it helps you pass time for a few minutes and then you're done.
So you're still playing Grand Theft Auto?
Absolutely.
Like how often?
Like every day I play probably for like 10, 15 minutes.
Every day?
Just before bed, just to, blow off some stress. I'll just rip through. I'll try to get as many stars as I can, see how long I can stay alive for, and then shut her down.
Nice.
I only have, like right now with the whole process of move, I only have that and Red Dead Redemption to play. So I'm just kind of dabbling in those right now.
Well, that seems a lot more fun. Like I do Wordle at night. And Connections, because it's like, I don't know if anybody out there plays that game of Connections on New York Times. So the Wordle's pretty simple, right? You got to just spell the 5, you got to figure it out. But Connections, there's 16 words and there's 4 groups of 4, and you've got to guess and make sure that you get all 4. You highlight 4 words that you think are connected. Now sometimes they're easier. The purple one and the brown one, the blue one. Sometimes you're like, are you joking? like what was the hint yesterday? And it's just kind of like, what? Like after the fact, because I didn't get it right. And then it comes out, these 4 words, and they take remove the E and it means something else. And you're kind of like, what? So you really got to think. So I don't mind it at all. But God, I could play Galg every night now. I should be doing that maybe. Problem is, I would be like, I got to keep playing.
I'd be lying if I said I quit after 10 minutes. Sometimes it goes.
Thank you. Hey, Gregor, you should try Strands from New York Times. Yeah, I do that one. It's got the words kind of hidden in the puzzle. So, and they give you a hint and they got to figure it out. So I like that one. I try to do it without the hint though. Because to me, like, you use the hint, but then they just give you the answer. So I don't really like it. Much better. Hey guys, it's 1978. Paint the picture. My old man brings home the television console with tennis and hockey cartridges. I don't know to this day how he afforded that. $330 from Zellers, not including the game cartridges. 1 income and 6 kids. Favorite games were Burger Time, Lock and Chase, Astro Smash, which was just like Asteroids, and baseball was great too. Lock and Chase. Now that's a good one. Back in time. And yes, Astro Smash, like that's what I was thinking, Astro Smash and Asteroids, but Astro Smash is the one that has the white blinking beacon. It's unbelievable. I could play Astro Smash all day. It's great. But Lock and Chase with the little cop. Oh, that's a good one too. Oh, I love it. Hey guys, McLeod and Fogel, they were the Mario Kart crew, right? Does that mean the end of their video game? Well, no. Bouchard was probably the best player, and McDavid played quite a bit. Hyman. So I still think they'll have enough guys who play. But yes, on their flights, they kind of had a set group. There was either the guys who gamed and then the other guys who played card games. So 2 different ones. Something tells me the video game guys. Now, maybe Skinner plays, maybe Arvidsson. I have no idea. but there's still enough of them to play for sure. Hey guys, kids are still breaking world records on Tetris today from Alex the Great. What? You can have a world record for Tetris? Seriously? No, I would never compete in it, but gee, how do you get a world record? I guess everything's online now. Do you have to take a picture? How can you prove that one? I'm very curious though. Like if you're a young gamer, pretty big deal. What's happening? No big deal. World record holder, Tetris. How you doing? Hey man, be a world record holder. Nothing wrong with it. It's like your Stanley Cup of gaming. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. It's the ultimate summertime smoothie is back, and you'll need it today, man. The wave of refreshment with Watermelon Wave. Download the Booster Reward app today and order one. We'll bring it right to you. That's Booster Juice.
Just wrapping up over in Germany, Euro 2024, England knocked off Netherlands 2-1 to advance to the final, where they will take on Spain. Across the pond, we got Uruguay and Colombia meeting at Copa America tonight from Charlotte, North Carolina. That one starts at 6 o'clock. Winner advances to the championship game to take on Argentina. Loser will play Canada on Saturday. Major League Baseball, one game underway right now. You got the Twins and White Sox. That's scoreless. Game 2 of their doubleheader earlier on. Twins fell to the Sox 3-1, and the Royals knocked off the Cards 6-4. Jays in action tonight, taking on the Giants once again. First pitch set for 7:45. The Edmonton Riverhawks are in action once again out in Wenatchee. That one gets going just after 8 o'clock. Locally, we got some exhibition basketball as Canada takes on the United States as they get ready for the Olympics in Paris. Tip off 8:30 from Vegas. And in the WNBA today, a lot of early games. Aces over the Storm 84-79, and the Dream fall to the Sky 78-69. Caitlin Clark had 29 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals in the loss to the Mystics 89-84, and the Liberty over the Sun 71-68. Fourth quarter, Mercury lead the Wings 85-66. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Tyler Yaremchuk of Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff, Bakersfield Condors head coach Colin Chock, and Brody Clark of the Edmonton Stingers. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
got a lot of views from that art interview. Good, yeah. The great off-season guest. Yeah. It's only 33.7. Thank God.
Soccer weather. Game day.
Portion of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides.
Hey, just like video games, there's certain songs when you hear them that right away you're fired up, man. Little House of Pain jump around brings back lots of memories for anybody who was on the nightclub scene in the early 90s, for sure. Whew. Good times. Good. Hey, pick any place you wanted, but Goose Looney's back then. Song would come on. It's a gong show on the dance floor. It's great times. Barry Tees, a few others. Nice. Loads and loads of fun. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. As always, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Canada, we'll see. Will they be, I don't know if they'll be as big of an underdog against Uruguay or Colombia, but tonight, $22 million up for grabs. Lotto 649, and nobody won last night. So Friday's Lotto Max, $55 million. PlayAlberta.ca. As lots of texts still flying in, 833-401-1440. Man, we might have to do a whole week of video game week once, and go over the different ones from different sports. Because honestly, you don't even have to be sports. But you could have a whole, hour or two a day talking about certain games and consoles that people play. And you have to go with different decades too, because depending on your age, that has a major influence on what you played. But man, I am loving going down memory lane today on this one. Now let's get to the oil report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. They, of course, are Canada's #1 Volvo dealership, 13-time Excellence Award winner in sales and service. And right now, their midsummer event is going on. You can lease a new Volvo 2024 XC90 from 0% right now for loyal customers at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com as we welcome in Tyler Yaremchuk. Tyler, are you still a gamer?
Yeah. I do sports gaming. So like right now I'm really in deep with my MLB The Show. And again, total nerd. I like taking the terrible teams and rebuilding them. And I think some gamers can relate to this on a different level. But that feeling when you lose a level and it's like, God, all my hard work. Gregor, I spent so far since the hockey season's ended, like 10 to 14 hours rebuilding the Colorado Rockies. My third season, I missed the playoffs by a game and they fired me and there's no way to go back. So it was just over.
Really? So that could happen in the game. I didn't know that. Well, that's ruthless. I kind of like it.
It was bad. It was
Once you get fired, now you just have to start from scratch.
You can like pick a new team. Like I think like 3 other teams offered me a job, but I was like, the whole point of me doing this was to rebuild the worst team in the majors, the Colorado Rockies. I don't want to just like go to the Padres. So I just shut her down, took like 2 days off, and then I reattempted it with the Rockies, and I'm doing it again now for whatever reason.
Oh my God. So now let's try not to get, what caused you to get fired? What was your error?
Just because I missed the playoffs for a 3rd straight year, but I missed by a game. When I took it over, we were like a 55-win team. I started spending money in free agency, best prospect pool in league. I did it all right. I followed the steps, and impatient owner, I guess. I don't know.
You Sounds like a lot of excuses here. That's all I'm hearing. I'm not hearing a lot of results. I'm just hearing a lot of excuses. So now that you've been fired, are you less likely to call for a GM getting fired in the real sporting world?
Well, I do feel the pain a little bit. Like, you put all that work into building something. And again, I didn't like just sim through it quickly. I was like doing the scouting you have to do throughout a year. Like, I was finding prospects, all that stuff. So that is a good point. It gave me good perspective because I was legitimately rattled. You could ask my fiance. I had a bad couple of days after being like, God, I put so much work into this and they gassed me. Why? One game. We missed by one game.
And they don't even give you a warning here. It's not like, you just got blindsided. Just show up and all of a sudden they're like, Tyler Yaremchuk, you're fired.
100%. I was like looking at the next crop of free agents. I'm like, oh man, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a free agent next year. Like, and then I hit like sim to the next day thing, and it was like, you've been relieved of your duties. And I was like, well, what do we do now? It was awful, but
that's classic. So if you were a GM, and I know we've seen the 6 players named. Is Evan Bouchard a lock for you, do you think, for Team Canada at the upcoming 4 Nations?
I don't think he's a lock, unfortunately. I think he is really, really talented. And I do think and who knows, maybe how the beginning of next season ends up playing out will end up deciding things a little bit more. But when you look at building out like a blue line specifically, like I know you have to do it somewhat with the forward group, but I am somewhat of a believer that if you take the best forwards, they should to some extent be able to figure things out. When you look at the Canadian blue line, like Cale Makar is going to be running that top power play unit. Will he not? Unless you really think there's like a Bouchard-McDavid connection of some sort. But if Cale Makar is running the top power play and you don't think you need Evan Bouchard in that spot, are you rostering him so he can run your second unit? Are there some defensemen who can, do the penalty kill thing a little bit better, or do the penalty kill thing, period? Bouchard, that's obviously not an element of his game. Like, I don't know. I feel like there might be some other more well-rounded defensemen out there. And it's tough for me to say that because, again, I love Bouchard, and I think he took some tremendous strides in the D zone this year. But is he a good fit on a blue line that already has a Cale Makar? I don't know.
Yeah, like it's going to be a fascinating conversation as it goes along. You look at like the righties are Makar, Bouchard, Noah Dobson, Drew Doughty. Right, if they're looking at a veteran guy, Alex Pietrangelo, right, like that's 5 pretty good right defensemen, right there. And I agree with you that if you feel that Makar is your number 1 power play guy, well, then it comes down to penalty kill, and obviously you're 5-on-5 minutes, no question. And some guys can play the other side, but like I think there's probably a really good chance they're going to bring Makar and Devon Taves. Right, they got chemistry, they play together all the time, so that takes up 2 spots. And then you look at some of the other left defensemen that Canada has. Josh Morrissey is a really good defender. Shea Theodore. Then there's some young guys like what if Owen Power takes a step? People think like I wonder where he falls in line on the left side of the defense. So I think he's going to have a good chance, but I do think his 5-on-5 play in the first half of the season will be the determining factor.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing too, like again, when has Bouchard played his best hockey in the NHL? Obviously, he took big steps forward with Duncan Keith, and then again with Matthias Ekholm this year. If Taves is going to play with Makar, like we all kind of assume he will, who is that left-handed guy who's more of a shutdown, more defensively responsible that you could see Bouchard being a really natural fit with? is that guy out there? Maybe a guy like Travis Sanheim, like he logged almost 24 minutes a night last year. I'm just looking at a list of Canadian defensemen. Maybe Travis Sanheim they look at and go, hey, there's a good little mix. Bush Sanheim as your third pairing maybe. But again, just finding a natural fit for him, and then also understanding his biggest superpower, which is on the power play, won't be utilized to its full strength because of Cale Makar's presence on the blue line. That makes it tough.
Yeah, no, it is fascinating. Zach Hyman, though, is a lock, and McDavid's a lock, I think, for sure. Obviously McDavid, but I think Zach Hyman's a lock to make this team. Like, he scored 50 goals last year, right? He's relentless work ethic, and it's even when Chris Kunitz made the team, I know some people are like whatever, but Zach Hyman scored 50 goals, so I think it's a little bit easier for him to make it. But outside of Stuart Skinner, those are the only four, right? Like, does Matthias Ekholm? Do you think he has a shot to make Team Sweden at this stage of his career? That to me is an interesting one.
Yeah, that is interesting, because outside of Ekholm, I'm trying to think, what other from those big four, because it's not like there's a Team Germany for Leon Draisaitl or whatever. Who else could? And the conversation might end after Ekholm. I feel like, again, similar, you mentioned Drew Doughty, like that's a guy who's still a very, very good defenseman, but you're bringing him because you want that veteran presence as well. And I think Ekholm is not the same type of defenseman. That's not the comparison I'm trying to make, but you go out there and you want to add some vets who can kind of hold down the fort and just play really good, solid defensive hockey. What's working against Ekholm, just looking at the list of Swedes here, is how many good left-handed Swedish defensemen there are. I didn't even clue into this, but on the right side, you're looking at, Erik Karlsson, I guess, as a right shot guy. On the left side, Dahlin, Hedman. Like, there are a couple of guys.
Gustav Forsling.
Yeah. Gustav Forsling would be the third. Maybe Ekholm makes it. Maybe he's the seventh defenseman on Sweden then.
Yeah. Like Hampus Lindholm's a really good defenseman. Right. Like Sweden's defense core is pretty good. I think so. And I know, like, people are texting, hey, if I'm the Oilers, I don't want Ekholm to play. And there's probably some truth to that, right? If Bouchard doesn't make the Four Nations team, it sucks for him, but it might actually be better for Edmonton.
Yeah, and I think too, at least Bouchard, a little younger. He's never really been banged up in his career. I'm trying to think back to like even his earlier days, and I don't think so. Ekholm, this year got off to, was slow coming out of training camp because he was banged up, an older guy. I don't think you'd sit there and, you're not going to be happy, because if the player wants the opportunity, you'd love for them to go, but it'd be a little maybe under the table fist bump of like, all right, he gets a clean week off to fully reset for down the stretch.
Tyler Yaremchuk joins us here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. One last one for you, Ty. Since we talked to you last, of course, the Ryan McLeod trade is there. We're going to have Colin Chock joining us right away, the head coach. Like Matt Savoy, I expect him to be in Bakersfield, and I expect him to be in the first unit power play. What's your expectations for him long term in Edmonton?
The other thing I'll be interested about down in Bakersfield is, do they commit to him as a winger right off the jump? Do they sit there and go, okay, down the middle, McDavid, Draisaitl, Henrique, you're going to be a right winger when you make the big club, so let's stick you there and go with that? Because I know with Dylan Holloway, it was like, hey, he'd go down to Bakersfield and play center, then he'd play the wing, then he'd come up to Edmonton and he'd be on the wing, and it kind of felt like there was always this mix of what they were doing with Dylan Holloway. I wonder if we'll see something more clear-cut with a player like Matt Savoy, but my expectation is that by Christmas, we're going to be sitting here talking about a guy who is too good for the American Hockey League level. Like, he got his cup of coffee last year and put up 5 points in 6 games. And, I talked with Bruce Kurlock, one of our prospect guys at Oilers Nation. And I didn't watch those Rochester Americans games. Bruce did. And same thing, like a guy who we can all clearly see is going to be too good for that level in short order here. So I think by Christmas, it'll start to be like, all right, this guy's too good. And the first sign of an injury, once the calendar flips to 2025, I don't think Savoy is going to be staying down there all year. I think at some point you see him in an Oilers jersey this season.
Ty, enjoy the rest of the week. Stay cool, and hopefully you don't get fired.
I'm back to doing the grind. I'm in year 2. I know I need to be more aggressive. Go Rockies.
There you go. Now, how many of you have suffered the same situation in your video gaming experience? Because I always hear Connor and Declan. Declan's always talking about the team he built, and he loads up his own player, and hey, I'm great. But can you get fired? I don't know. We'll have to. I'm very curious about it because, like, imagine you put in 3 years building a team, and then you just get fired. Like, I could see how it would rattle someone. Right? You put in all these time, you're like, geez, I'm trying to rebuild a team. And guess what? Hey, now welcome to sports. It can be ruthless at times, isn't it? All of a sudden, you're like, geez, maybe I'm not going to be calling for the firing of the GM all of a sudden if he makes a bad trade. Oh, we'll find out. Colin Chock, the head coach of the Bakersfield Condors, is going to be joining us right now on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Hey, Eddie Steele here. If you know me, you know I'm motivated. And what motivates me? Winning? Been there, done that. What motivates me is the smell of fresh baked goodness, the kind you find at Bonton Bakery. As soon as you walk into Bonton, you're greeted with a big smile, a warm welcome, and the aroma. So good. The showcase of their baked goods always means trouble for me, not just because of the selection, but the excellent fresh ingredients. That's Bonton Bakery, 8720 149th Street. Open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
This is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Favorite us right now.
Powered by PlayAlberta.ca. If you gamble, use your game sense. Learn more at gamesense.ab.ca.
I think many people know what game that is automatically. Oof. Nice. I like it. It's always good to have a little nostalgia talking video games because, hey, evidently the video games can be very real life now. You can get fired from your own video game. Honestly, I didn't even know that. That might be my favorite story of a long time. I could just see Yaremchuk, dude, just getting rattled. You lose out. You miss the playoffs by 1 game. The next day you go to log in. You're fired. If you want, you can be hired by these 3 other teams. No, took 2 days off. Starts from scratch again. Outstanding. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, an opportunity for young girls to continue their development for 12U and 14U players. You can go to femalesuperleague.com for more information. As we welcome back to the show, he is the head coach of the Bakersfield Condors. Colin Chock joins us. Colin, always good to have you, man. How you doing?
Doing excellent. How about yourself?
I am great, man. It's hot in here. Real hot today. It's like record-setting 33.7 degrees, according to our meteorologists around town. So it's hot. Colin, I want to ask, as a coach, when you see some moves and you see a big trade, Ryan McLeod goes out and you got Matt Savoy coming in. This is a guy who's a 2-point-a-game player. He just turned 20 in January. He's going to turn pro this year. He's done everything he can in junior. Do you, because I know he'll go to camp and want to be an NHL guy. That's his main goal. But, based on Edmonton's roster right now, there's probably a good chance he'll at least start the season in Bakersfield. Have you guys already had discussions? Do you see him as a center or a right winger?
We see him as a center. Obviously, I'm really excited to get to work with him. I played mainly as a player, the center position. I know it was a long time ago, but you can relate to a young centerman and know the things and habits that as a junior player would have, and some that you can help as a pro. I thought we had some good success with Noah Philp when he came in. Different scenario, but still right shot centerman, young pro, and he had a really, really good second half. To your point, hopefully Matthew challenges for a position with the big club, but if he has to start with us, we'll be excited to give him key minutes and then also give him some pointers along the way.
Colin, having, your season got extended along because of the playoff run, and I think you're in Edmonton for like 30 days after the year skating with the guys. And, there's a few familiar names, veterans, Brad Malone. You've got Seth Griffin not coming back, McKaig not back. So it looks like there's going to be more minutes for some more young players for this. Does that change your approach at all? Are you looking to get more playing time for the young guys this season?
Yeah, I think with, like you said, with some of the veteran players moving on, right, there's just, and then, some trades and that kind of movement, there's going to be some more minutes for those younger players. And I think they're also going into, their second and in some cases third year, right? So they're more ready for those minutes as well. So, I think the transition for some veteran players moving on, and then for some younger guys being able to take advantage of opportunity, but then also, I believe they're hungry for that. So, our main job is to develop players for the Oilers, and I think we've done a good job of doing that so far, and we're excited to continue that.
Look at a player now that you've had some time probably to look at the whole season. How would you evaluate Bourgault's year overall?
Yeah, I'd say Xavier had an up and down year. I think he said it best, and in his meeting at the end of the year, that he feels like he has a lot more to give, and that he's excited about putting a big summer behind or in front of him to have a better year. He played his best hockey when he came back from his shoulder injury. But I would say he had a good first season. I would say his second season, we would like more out of him. We can do a better job as a staff helping him. Because for whatever reason, we can both take some responsibility for it. But I can tell you, he wasn't blaming. He wasn't playing the blame game.
Yeah.
But he definitely wants more. He definitely wants more out of himself, and I think that's why they're entry level contracts, right? Like he's a big culture in his first year, coming from a small town in Quebec, and becoming a pro, living on his own. Some guys thrive in those areas. Some guys take a little bit more time. So. I believe there's something there. I believe I've talked to him a lot this summer. He's texting me, asking for drills, asking for different sequences that we did with the Black Ace of Skates that was a little bit more skill based. So, I feel like he's definitely taking more initiative and more ownership as a player. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see him in Penticton in training camp this year.
So when you have a player reach out to you, Colin, and he's looking for some drills as a coach, and nowadays it's easier, right? So do you send guys drills even when the season ends, say, hey, here's some starting points, and then they just naturally, catch, we'll check in, and they want new drills. Like with a guy like Bourgault, can you give us a little tease on what are some of the drills he works on specifically?
Yeah, so for him, obviously there's an exit meeting, right? And there's some things, there's some takeaways, some areas, the things that we'd like, and things that we'd like him to work on. And one of the areas we'd like him to term that we use is skate on first touch. We want him to skate with the puck more through the neutral zone and more in the offensive zone. So those will be some. We did a lot of puck protection and offensive zone sequences to try and build more offense. And with the Black Aces skates, so I would call them skill based, but also game situation concepts that scenarios happen repeatedly in the game. So, skating on first touch, puck protection, having confidence to hang on to the puck, and then lastly, I would say just in tight scoring. You see in the playoffs and in the second half of the season, it's just harder to get to those areas. So. Those are some of the things that him and I have talked about, and whereas that didn't happen as much in year one, in the summertime after year one, right? There's communication throughout the summer. We're calling, checking up on the player, seeing how they're doing, talking about their life, trying to build and continue that personal relationship and kind of give them a little bit of a rest from hockey. But when he's asking for it and he is he's having the initiative, then you're kind of letting the player lead a little bit in the summertime. They have their strength guys and their skill guys, so they see you every day. You want a balance of being fresh and then keeping that relationship strong.
Colin Chock, head coach of the Bakersfield Condors, joins us. Colin, Raphael Lavoie is a guy who did get he's close. He's as close as you can get to being an NHL player without being an NHL player. And, he obviously will come to camp and compete for a spot. Where'd you look at his season overall? And are there any areas that he wants to focus on that can help him become a regular NHLer?
Yeah, Rafi, when his first, 5 games in the American League, he was a man versus boys, and just, talk about Bourgault is just that he was able to protect the puck. He was able to power through guys. He was scoring 5-on-5. He was scoring on the power play. He was almost a threat most shifts on the ice offensively. That got the buzz that, he needed an opportunity. I think for him to stay there, he's last I checked, he's probably not going to replace any of the top 5 on the power play. So he's got to, and he knows this, he's got to be really strong on the wall, really in the defensive zone, being strong on the wall, making sure he's getting pucks out, making sure defensively he's responsible. And then on the forecheck, he's a big body, right? Having a good stick, being first on the forecheck, touching the puck first, being physical, and extending ozone plays, wearing the other team down, building the coach's trust that he can do that on a nightly basis, and then trying to work his way up the lineup from there. But Rafi knows that. I think he's excited for the challenge. He was an impactful player for us. Obviously led our team in goals. Was a lethal weapon on the power play. But he needs to concentrate on his 5-on-5 game to be a full-time NHL player.
Colin, you mentioned that you view Matt Savoy as a center iceman. When you look at the Oilers depth chart, because they have McDavid, Draisaitl, and Henrique, he could play great, but if he does get recalled, he might start on the wing. How do you balance that for a player who's going to play center at the American League, but then if he goes to the NHL, he might have to play wing? Do you put him on wing drills? Like, do you say, hey, let's spend some time just, on board battles or getting the puck out on the boards on the right wing? How would that work for a young player like that? Or is that just not a focus early on?
No, I think we obviously take the guide from management, right? And, right now it's center position, but, what does that mean? He might see some reps at wing. I think that's possible. I will tell you that, going from center to wing, it's really, really an efficient change. The opposite going from wing to center, it's a lot more responsibility. So, we did it with Dylan Holloway. It was a perfect example where he came in, he played some center for us this year. It was great. He went back up, came back down, played some center again. Was kind of in a bit of a rut. We consult with management. We decided to move him back to the wing, and it was probably the best thing for him. He was able to get on the forecheck. He was able to be more powerful. He was able to skate to the neutral zone. Get on forechecks. He likes the physical play. So is that something that could happen with Matt? Possibly. But as of now, what the conversation we've had, he'll be in the middle, but that should change, and we'll be ready to do what the big club has asked us to do.
Colin Chock joins us. Colin, you have, you've got, I would say, looking at your roster right now, a pretty veteran defense core, on paper, with one young guy who will now be entering his second season. And he is a player that I know there's lots of people in the organization that are very high on him, yourself included. How would you look from start to finish? What were the biggest strides you saw in young Max Wayner's game?
I think the biggest strides that positively that he made is that he got an understanding that valuing his first option is probably the right option. I'm talking about moving the puck, underhandling it, right? Because obviously he had more time in junior. He's bigger and stronger than a lot of the players. So he was able to move the puck quicker, understanding that his first option is probably a very good option. And his box outs and just playing hard in front of the net. He was physical. He learned that he can be physical and he can be heavy. I think those are the two things. Maybe we can give him one more, is just defining his role. He found a home on the penalty kill. He blocked shots. He valued that. Those three things. He's not going to be, to start anyway, be a power play guy. He's got to make good passes. He's got to be hard and mean to play against, kind of like a young Vincent Darnay when he first came up, like something along those lines is how he's going to get himself into the league. But, similar to Vinny, right? Like he's a later round pick. He's someone who's been able to come in and play 15 to 22 minutes a night in the American League, which I know is a tall ask, but he was up for the challenge, and I think he'll know exactly what to expect. He's familiar with the coaching staff. He's familiar with his D pairing. He's familiar with Bakersfield, the travel, all that kind of stuff. So it's exciting for him to build that momentum going into his second season.
Looking at your team overall, and you're going to lose some of your veterans like Brad Malone. I don't think McKegg. Now Griffith, I think, is signed an AHL deal. Seth Griffith, is he signed an AHL deal?
Yeah, Griffith will be back.
Okay, so how do you balance kind of like you bring in new guys, you have some young guys who want to take more responsibility, and obviously your goal is to develop them as NHL guys. How do you balance that leadership role when knowing some leaders, Colin, are there, but like they really don't have, even though they might have personal aspirations to go to the NHL, it's a much longer shot than some of the young guys, right? So how do you get those leaders to kind of buy into that? I know we had Brad on the show and he talked about it. For him, he was like, hey, I knew my time as an NHL player was likely gone. Doesn't mean I didn't stop trying, but I kind of knew where I was at. Do you have to have a conversation with some of your veterans on that? And is it easier? How difficult is that conversation when they know that maybe my lot in life now is to be a veteran in the American League to really help the young kids?
Yeah, that's transparency and being upfront, and some of the veteran players, they still believe they can be an NHL player. And Brad's a really good example. I believe he was 4 years between NHL games, right? So you still work with them, you still develop them, but then you're mindful on their minutes. And then also, these are more one-on-one or small group conversations, and getting them to understand that if we can develop these young players and we can put them in environments that are uncomfortable for them, that in the second half of the season, it's going to benefit them personally. It's going to benefit our team, but it's also going to benefit that veteran player because he's going to be more experienced, the young player, and he's going to be a more impactful and he's going to be more confident person. So understanding that, I think the Oilers are a perfect example, right? You can be really good with the two amazing players, but to be great, you need people around you to help you. So, really that's the message. And And do we hit it perfectly every night? As far as the minutes, the answer is no, right? But a lot of nights we're pretty close as far as making sure that guys are getting important, meaningful minutes. But then we're also spreading it out, and we're making sure that 4 lines and 60 and both goaltenders are getting action. And that's essentially the way we handle it.
If you had do you put lines on paper in the summer, or because you don't know who's coming down, do you not worry about that, Colin?
Yeah, I mean, Keith and I, we're in conversation, I would say most days, right? So, you think you might have a general idea, but you're not really looking at too many combinations because of what you're saying. You don't know who you're going to get. And really, if I'm a player, you don't really want to hear from the American League coach all summer long when everyone wants to try to play in the NHL. So we try to, yes, you're building a personal relationship with them, but you're trying to also allow them to focus on working to achieve their dream, and that's playing in the National Hockey League for the Edmonton Oilers.
Do you mentioned Seth Griffiths? Do you like him on the wing more than at center ice position? And would he, because he's a really skilled guy, like he's got lots of skill. He could, I think if he was a little bit bigger, he'd probably be an NHL player. But and if you have a young player like Matt Savoy, Colin, if you're looking for like ideal line mates, what goes into that conversation and who you'd want him to start with?
Yeah, I think someone that can score, and someone that can go hunt pucks down, right, to help with that physicality and that forecheck mindset. So it's an interesting pair, like Griff and Raph Lavoie. They've been good winger partners, right? Because Griff is more of a facilitator. Rafi is more of a shooter. So, maybe that's an option for us. I'm not, especially early on, we're getting some input from management. KG, Keith Gretzky, our GM, he's given some input. We're talking to all our coaching staff to see what they're seeing. So, but as far as, back on Seth Griffith, he's, mainly played the wing position. And, really he's someone who is really, really a pass first guy. So he really generates a lot of secondary offense. We'd like him to shoot more. It's something that we've talked to him in his exit meeting, that we want him to try and have a little bit more shot mentality. But he's someone that has led the AHL in scoring, has played the NHL level, has been an AHL All-Star. And his leadership qualities are more of a feel-good guy. He's not an in-your-face guy. So, it's a different approach to helping a player feel good about his surroundings.
Colin, always good to catch up with you, man. We appreciate your time as always, and enjoy some downtime this summer if you get any.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I'm always a pleasure being on. Thanks so much. Have a great summer as well.
You betcha. There's Colin Chock, the head coach of the Bakersfield Condors. And so Matty Savoy, I know many of you were wondering, looks like he will be starting at the center ice position to start the season in the American League. And then, they'll see, maybe take some reps. Kind of depends how things go. So now, could he make the NHL roster? Of course he can. I think he would have to play out of his mind. Let's just be honest. Like, look, you have McDavid, Draisaitl, Henrique. So if he's going to make it, he'd probably have to be as a right winger. And I think we'll kind of see, who he plays with, what position he plays in training camp, which begins September, I think, 19th. The Oilers do have a doubleheader of preseason action on Monday, the 23rd of September. That'll be their first. Back in the old, remember, they're going back old school. When Edmonton and Calgary would play 2 days in 1 day, 2 games in 1 day, one in Calgary, one in Edmonton, split squads. That's what they're going to do. So there'll only be 7 nights of preseason games, but 8 games overall, most likely. Quick break. We'll return on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And we'll talk, tough loss last night, but we'll recap that and looking ahead to what should be some good playoffs.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? The Mixed and Mingle League. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club every Thursday as they pair off males and females for a fun and social round of golf. Only $33.30 all season long. Details at cattailcrossing.ca.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one, down better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
This Sunday, your Edmonton Elks host the Ottawa Red Blacks for Dino Day. Discover pre-game fossil digs, dino egg hunts, and animatronic dinosaurs. Plus, catch the inflatable T-Rex football combine at halftime. Presented by Travel Drumheller.
Tickets and more at GoElks.com.
Look in my eyes, what do you see? The color perfect.
.352. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook on a hot, busy Wednesday. It's hump day. You only got an hour left to get over it. Whew. How many of you are just like, oh, I can't wait to get home, gonna have a cold shower, relax. It's muggy out, man. Some of you working outside. We've had people texting us pictures of where they're working today. One guy texts us from the roof. He's working, it looked like in sheet metal. And he's doing some like electrical repair on a roof, and he has like an umbrella using to give him some shade. I'm like, oh my goodness, that would be brutal. So kudos to all of you who are slugging it out outside today because it is hot. Record-breaking day, they're saying, at 33.7 degrees Celsius is the high that we have reached. Yowzers. Hey, let's get to our basketball report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. And trust me, when it's hot out, you think Legacy because you get no interest, no payments for 1 year on your AC unit. And you might be thinking, I got to get one. Well, call Bobby and the gang today. Go to legacyheating.ca and they can help you out. As we welcome back to the show, good friend of the show. We had him in studio. Of course, he is a big power forward for the Edmonton Stingers. Brody Clark joins us. Brody, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm good, Jason. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, are you a guy who likes the heat? How do you like the 33.7?
Well, I'm sitting in the one air-conditioned room of my condo at the moment. So we're going to go with 33.7 is a little on the high side for me.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I was watching the game last night on TV, and you know what? Really close game. What do you kind of see kind of went wrong for you guys? Kind of a rare off night for you guys shooting the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that speaks to it. I think it was one of those days where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. For starters, it was the end of a 6 games and 11 days stretch for us, and I think maybe we took our foot off the gas a bit and got a little complacent because we were doing well throughout the stretch. And so focus was definitely not there on the defensive side of the basketball. We were all over the place on help side. We weren't guarding ball screens the way we like to. We weren't being very dictatorial, I guess, on defense. We were very much reactive. And then obviously we did not shoot the ball well. I think we shot around 30% from the field for the whole game. So kind of a perfect storm in Calgary's favor, unfortunately. And for us, I think a good learning opportunity. Like, we got a lot of film we can watch, a lot of stuff that we can improve upon based on yesterday alone. But it's a really quick season, as you know. So we're still right in the middle of the sprint to the finish here, and you kind of have to be a goldfish at this point and have a bit of a short memory and be ready to move on.
So you guys now have a few days off, but then you travel and you play Saturday and Sunday on the road. And then actually you probably just come back west and stay on the road into Saskatchewan. So you'll play Saturday, Sunday, and then Thursday, and you wrap things up on Monday, the 29th of July with the home game. You have a lot of time off at that point. But Brody, your team's really been rolling. Like last night, and that's probably what made it maybe more frustrating because your team had been playing well overall. And, when your team is humming and you got everybody playing, you got a good mixture of bigs, and really you don't necessarily rely on one or two guys. It can be a different guy every game. For this team, you got about 5 or 6 different guys who can show up offensively.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of our identity at this point. It's something that we've leaned on all year. It's something that we preach. It's something that the coaching staff has really, placed an emphasis on this year. Is that it might not be your night tonight, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be your night tomorrow. And the way we play, when we're playing the right way, not like last night, but the way we play, we move the ball. We try to make sure that we're engaging the defense in a way that's going to allow somebody, it doesn't really matter who, to find an advantage at some point in the offense. And that allows us to kind of spread out the load that way. And then similarly, when we're at our best defensively, we're playing 5-on-5 defense. Everybody's engaged, knows where the ball's at. And we got a lot of guys with different, varying athletic ability who are able to cover lots of ground and use our length to our advantage on that side of the ball. And I think that we just need to keep continuing to lean on that trust that we are still headed in the right direction. But it's been our strength so far, and we're gonna, we pride ourselves in it.
Brody Clark joins us from the Edmonton Stingers. And Brody, for you now, on the broadcast they were talking about. So your plans, is that locked in that this will be your last year of professional sports as a player?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm pretty transparent about it at this point, but this is my last season with the Edmonton Stingers, probably my last season playing professional basketball in any way. Big changes coming up for me in my life, so I'm kind of trying to make sure that I get the absolute most I possibly can out of this season and squeeze every ounce of athleticism I still have out of my body. So yeah.
Now, was that decision, is it just because you're looking, is it part physical? Is it part, because I know obviously you've got some degrees, you got a really good education, or just kind of looking to, you got a job opportunity that's too good to pass up?
A little bit of all of the above. I've had 5 surgeries since 2014. So my body has been through the ringer, but in addition to that, I think I consider myself a lot more than just a basketball player. And I have other passions in life that I want to make sure that I explore when I'm still at a young age, and make sure that I'm, really pouring my heart and soul into that part of my career once basketball is done. So I'd rather, to a certain degree, I'd rather get on that sooner than later as well. So just a lot of competing priorities in my life. I had to at some point just put on my big boy pants and make a decision one way or another. And hopefully it all works out for the best. But honestly, I've been so grateful for the time I've had in Edmonton. I mean, these are the best fans in the league by far. The basketball community here is just so tight knit. Everybody's super supportive. You guys have all taken me in as if I'm one of your own, even though I'm not. And that's just like, it's the best situation I could have ever asked for. So it's kind of a really bittersweet summer for me in that way, because it'll be my last time to get to interact with the community in this way. But, this is always going to be my second home. It's always going to be, close to the heart to be a part of the Edmonton Stingers and just a part of Edmonton in general. So,
you're a young man. You're only 28 years of age. How many hours did you have to go back and forth, before you made that decision? And how difficult, like, what's the hardest part of the decision? Is it just missing that competitive fire that sports, like, it's hard to find that anywhere else?
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to find that anywhere else. There's also something about what being involved in sports at this level does for the other parts of your life in terms of opening doors and allowing you to, be able to perform in high pressure situations, et cetera, that, is going to help me throughout my career. And so at the same point, I'm going to keep the same mindset that I brought to sports in anything that I do. But yeah, the number of hours that I had to put into thinking about whether I was going to be done or not are countless. It was probably an entire summer plus an entire school year of me just trying to understand what my path was. But yeah, I'm happy with my decision. It's not something that's going to change, right? But what I can control is making sure that I leave everything out there for the rest of this season. So, and I don't necessarily believe that you're going to give more. Like, that to me would suggest that you weren't giving all your before. So I don't think that's the case. But you probably maybe stop to smell the roses a little bit more here in the final stretch drive and then into the playoffs for your team. But if you look at your team overall, Brody, and you've seen all the teams in the league, like, you guys are you're a real top team. What for the Stingers to win this year and to win the championship? What do you feel needs to be 2 or 3 keys for your team to win? Yeah, it's so interesting because it really comes down to a few small details that I think we put on the board most days, right? And one thing is we have to be incredibly good at limiting our turnovers. We need to make sure that we are valuing every possession like it's the last possession of the championship game, because when we don't turn the ball over, we tend to be pretty good. The other thing is just making sure that we're playing defense 5-on-5 as much as possible, whether that's in transition or when they get into the half court. Is like, we don't want to get ourselves in situations where we're at a disadvantage. And so focusing in on what the game plan is from a defensive perspective and really keying in on the details of the individual opponents, what their skill sets are and what systems they're trying to run. Our focus level needs to be at 100 there. And then lastly, it's like, I mean, you kind of alluded to it, but for me, I'm leaving every last ounce of everything I got out there when I play. I know what my timeline is. Sometimes that's hard to ask of a lot of guys during the summer months. Let's be honest, there's longer seasons for the other portion of the year that pay them probably more money and contribute further to the longevity of their careers. And so, what we're asking really is do that same thing, right? Give it everything you've got for the last bit of the summer. Make sure that we're leaving it out there. And regardless of the finish, we're not going to be disappointed or feel bad about the fact that maybe we could have or should have put more effort towards this, because we have a great chance at winning. I think that we have a really good roster. I think that we believe we can win. But we still got 4 regular season games we got to take care of business on, and then we got to make sure we do it again in the playoffs.
Brody, always good to catch up with you, man. Congratulations. You got your mind made up. And so we'll watch with interest the final 4 regular season games and then into the playoffs for the Stingers. And good luck this weekend on the road.
Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate it.
There you go. That's Brody Clark from the Edmonton Stingers. Really good guy, man. We loved having him in studio. Loved his story of his career, and well-spoken guy, really smart guy. And you wish him the best when his playing career for the Stingers is over and what he wants to do after that. But, they're a good team. I don't know if you watched that game on TSN. By the way, how awesome is it to be able to watch the CBL on TV now? It's fantastic. So, they got a few more broadcasts coming up and then the postseason, which is great. And if you haven't been, I highly recommend it. They only have one more home game in the regular season. That'll be on the 29th of July. They got 3 road games between then. And then, of course, the postseason. And we'll see what happens. They got a good squad. Quick break. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by the Hockey Heroes Society. And Hockey Heroes game in conjunction with NHL alumni, They have it now. It's a golf tournament. It goes September 7th for the golf tournament. They have a big gala dinner on the 6th. All the money raised supports Hockey Heroes, which gets kids in the game who otherwise would never have a chance. So if you like golf, you like NHL alumni, combines in one. Go to hockeyheroesgame.com and sign up your foursome. Here's Connor Halley.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Earlier today at the Euros, it was England victorious over the Netherlands 2-1. Ollie Watkins scoring the 90th minute. England now will take on Spain in the final. Copa America tonight, you got Uruguay taking on Colombia down in North Carolina. The winner of this one will meet Argentina. In the final, the loser takes on Canada for third place on Saturday. Major League Baseball, the Jays are in action tonight. They'll take on the Giants down in San Fran. First pitch set for 7:45. Two finals from earlier today, both the first half of their double headers. The Royals knocked off the Cards 6-4, and the White Sox defeated the Twins 3-1. Right now, White Sox on top of the Twins once again, 2-0 in the top of the fifth. The Riverhawks on the road once again. They're taking on Wenatchee. That gets going just after 8 o'clock. We got some pre-Olympic exhibition basketball tonight as Canada takes on the United States. That one gets going at 8:30 from Las Vegas. And Derek White was named to the U.S. Olympic team earlier today as a replacement for Kawhi Leonard. In the WNBA, busy afternoon. All games now finished. Liberty knocked off the Sun 71-68. Mystics over the Fever 89-84. The Dream vaulted the Sky 78-69. And it was the Mercury over the Wings 100-84. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and be joined by AJ Jackybeck of TSN 1200 in Ottawa. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
You don't work for GMC, but it's kind of like you do because you pay what we pay. GMC employee pricing is on now on all 2024 GMC Sierra half tons and Hummers. Oh, but at Wolf GMC Buick, it's even better. Get GMC employee pricing on every in-stock 2024 GMC. If it's new and a 2024 and it has that beautiful GMC logo on it, then it's GMC employee priced. Pay what we pay, but only until July 25th. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now and see the over 200 GMCs in stock.
Hamilton?
Christensen Communities.
We'll return on Jason.
Active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
The sports world never clocks out. Neither do we. Sports 1440 has you covered with Fox Sports tonight after 9 and all weekend long. So when you're ready to head home, we're warming up again. Sports 1440, bringing you an all-star performance every day.
Rule number 33. White shirts attract stampede bustard like magnets. Maybe just bring a spare. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules, and if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino instance and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one, down better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
The sun was gone. Turn on the music to start my day. That's myself a new song.
Four 11. Welcome back. Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook on a hot Wednesday afternoon. And hey, maybe you want to get hot, go to playalberta.ca. You get your tickets. Tonight's Lotto 649. Ooh. You know, lucky 22 mil. Why not? Nobody won last night. So it's 55 million on Friday for Lotto Max. And also it's summertime. And hey, nothing says summer more than 33-degree weather here in Edmonton. And good news is it's not a muggy hot. It's a dry heat. So it's not nearly as bad as it would be if you were in New York or Nashville or Toronto when it's humid. Oh, that is brutal. But you can use the promo code SUMMER at playalberta.ca. It'll benefit you, especially if you like the casino. We got loads of text. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. AJ Jackwick's going to join us. We're going to do a little Ottawa Red Blacks. Of course, they're in town on Sunday, as well as the Senators. They did have Linus Ullmark. How much of a difference is that going to make for their upcoming season? Chychrun for Jensen? Is that a really good deal? We'll find out. But we got a lot of the text coming in on for the Oilers. And hey, guys, I really enjoyed your interview with Colin Chock. I was curious. I keep hearing and reading that people say that Chock didn't play the young guys. Where do you come out on playing the young guys and playing your veteran players? Well, I think it's too easy to say you just gift young guys ice time. And I think there's something that should be said. And this is not me talking out of school. This was reported last year that by the organization, not me, that Bourgault had he tried to put on more weight, which lots of young players do, but he didn't necessarily do it the best way. And that's happened. It's not on purpose, but you add strength and then it cost him his speed. He wasn't as quick. And it's not like you can just suddenly snap your fingers in a season and change everything, because then you lose confidence. And now you're behind the 8 ball a little bit. So I think that played a factor in Bourgault's season last year, much more than people who think the coach is automatically playing, didn't want to play the young guys. Now, was there a time that maybe, Brad Malone in the second half of last season got a little bit too much ice time. I think that's probably a fair comment. And if you look back, Chock might say, yeah, you're right. But when they go into this season, if you look at the Oilers and you look at their lineup, and so if Savoy is going to play center, which is what we were just told by the head coach, so I'm going to believe him. I think he knows what the plan is for guys. So if you look at right wing, then you've got Xavier Bourgault and you've got Raphael Lavoie if he's not here. They've got some other young guys on that team in James Steffen. You've got Jaden Gruby. Now that'll be interesting. Like kind of like, what are you doing? Who's the second line center? Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Noah Philp? Right, both younger guys. Good battle, second and third line. Now you do have Matvei Petrov. Right, he's a guy who I think they would want to see in your top 6 ideally, and minimum in your top 9. Right, but here's the truth that sometimes people don't want to hear because, hey, let's be honest, it's not great for prospects. There's probably at any point into maybe 5 or 6 prospects that are going to make the NHL. That's just the truth, right? And so now Petrov's another right shot winger. Now he can play the left side. So is he the third line right winger after Bourgault and Raphael Lavoie? Right? Like, I don't know. He's a big body, man. Like I think he's kind of like a sneaky under the radar player that he's only had 1 year pro. I'm very curious to see where he comes in. He's only 21. Right? Still extremely young in development, but he's big. He's got a great shot. I'm intrigued by him a lot, actually. Right? Like he would be a late round flyer, no question, but he's a skilled player. So where does he fit in on this team? You know, maybe is he going to play his offside? Possibly. Like, and trust me, guys, they'll play their offside. They don't have a problem with it if it means they're going to get more time in the top 6, right? Like a guy like Drake Caggiula at this stage, like he shouldn't be in your top 6, right? Now, Lane Peterson is probably your second best center. And actually, you know, maybe your best AHL center, even though Matt Savoy is your most skilled AHL center. Right? Like, I think Lane Peterson has a chance in camp to push Derek Ryan for a spot. I'm not saying he's going to beat him, but I think I don't rule it out is all I'm saying for Lane Peterson. So he'll play. And then there's James Hamlin, right? Like they're actually got a decent top 9. So James Hamlin's still a young guy, right? He played 31 NHL games. He feels like, you know what? Like I'm closer. Is James Hamlin closer to the NHL today than Bourgault? Yes. Is he closer than Petrov? Yes. Now, then it depends. Can those guys outperform him? Like James Hamlin, you can't just say, well, James Hamlin can only be in my third line. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So there's still going to be some competition, right? You throw in Seth Griffin. He's your one left winger, I think for sure, who's there. Then there's Noah Philp who comes back, and Noah Philp had a really good second half 2 years ago. He took it last year off. So I kind of like where they're going. I think they're going to have a top 9 that has different guys split around, and the amount of minutes distributed between power play and penalty kill is probably going to be the difference. But their top 9 should be pretty good. There's a mixture of youth, right? They got rid of McKegg, Malone, you know, older guys. He retired, so that'll open up some ice time. But like Drake Caggiula at 30 years of age, like at best he's probably playing in your third line. Like I don't really want him in my top 6 just because like I know what he is as a player, right? Good guy. He'll be a leader for them. So I don't know if I think sometimes it's easy to just say, oh, you know, the coach screwed up. No, unfortunately at times, like players will determine their ice time more than you think. And Xavier Bourgault, and it's a mistake that happens that you hope doesn't happen, but it happens. Some guys, how they train doesn't translate great to what they do on the ice. And we heard from Colin Chock. He's already been talking to Bourgault, giving him lots of different drills. So I would think he will come in maybe a little bit lighter, but stronger and quicker. And that'll help him a lot. So I think it's a good problem to have for sure. Hey, guys, I'm like Yaremchuk. I rebuilt the 2020 Oilers. I lost Game 7 of the Cup Finals 3 straight years and was fired because I didn't match owners' expectations. Well, Lance, at some point, you can't get your team over the hump. You got to go. Right? You're essentially the Buffalo Bills of NHL video games, Lance. And I'm not sure that's where you want to be. So I feel for you, but now I'm curious, after you get fired, are you more patient when people mention firing a GM or a coach? I'm curious. I know it's not real life, but when you commit that many hours to it, you feel like, hey, this is a big commitment I just put in, and I just got fired from my game team. Cons, have you ever been fired?
No, Gregor, I win, so no need.
Oh, jeez.
I turn off the salary cap and I just build. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I
win by cheating.
I don't
Okay.
play those modes, actually. I don't have the
Oh.
patience for it. I want to get in on the just to kind of
Okay.
get in on the action, not do the
It
behind the scenes.
sounds like
stuff.
that's you're committing to many years without a guarantee of winning.
You're putting time in, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you play every game, you can find a way to win, right? Like Declan, his creative player, plays with McDavid, scores 8 points a game and wins all the time. But if you're just managing and then hypothetically simming the majority of the games, yeah, it could be a struggle. Yaremchuk showed us that. But no, I don't play that way. I'm in the action. I'm playing games, finding ways to win.
Oh, I like it.
Or, playing GTA.
We'll see. When we come back, we will talk about, hey, speaking of wins, green and gold, could they get a win? Maybe. Sunday, 5 o'clock. Should be a great day for football, by the way. And I know that, hey, right now it's tough. A lot of people are like, I'm not sure I want to go, but this might be one of your better chances to see a home win. But man, do they ever need a win? Bad. I think you're going to see some changes on the D-line. Will we see Moncrief start? That's my question. About the Elks linebacking core, possibly. We'll see. The Red Blacks, their opponents, we'll get a little bit of breakdown on them. Also, Linus Ullmark. Is he enough to help the Senators finally get back to the playoffs? We'll talk a little off-season in Ottawa next in the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca with AJ Jakubik.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Albatross Roofing and Construction has immediate job openings for skilled flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers. If you have SBS modified bitumen experience and CSTS certification, they want you. Get a great wage, benefits, steady work, and upward growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca today.
The Edmonton Riverhawks presents Baseball Goes Bollywood with Turn Sports 1440 and My Radio 580. The game's on July 19th at 7:05 p.m., but show up early for some cricket. And stay late for a South Asian dance party and light show from Uncle John's Fireworks. Go to tickets.gohawks.ca to buy tickets today. Again, that's tickets.gohawks.ca.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has been the trusted heart of Central Alberta. We're not just a dealership, we're a tradition of honesty and excellence with honest pricing and genuine service. We proudly earned Canada's only 51-time President's Award for Customer Satisfaction. Join our extended family and experience the Denham Ford difference. Whether on the Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or online at denhamford.ca, your journey to trust and excellence starts with us. Denham Ford, driving tradition forward. NASCAR Canada only makes one stop in Alberta. And that one stop is Edmonton International Raceway in Wetaskiwin.
The NASCAR Napa 300 is coming July 26th and 27th. Experience NASCAR excitement as internationally renowned racers
Like Andrew Ranger, Kevin LaCroix, and DJ Kennington.
compete for the national championship on our paved oval track. Tickets are moving fast.
Get yours at edmontonraceway.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see Dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces Dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping Dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
.424. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Cougar, running things online at OilersNation.com, in our YouTube channel, Facebook page. Say hello to everybody watching, listening. Man, the numbers just keep growing. We love it. Thanks for all the sports fans. Had some good conversations earlier with Colin Chock. I know many of you are curious about it. And when you look up and down their lineup, right, the Bakers feel like it. Because when I hear say, well, just gift them ice time. Well, who are you gifting ice time to? So Lane Peterson is a player who's really close. He might push Derek Ryan for a spot here. And I don't think you're going to send him to the American League and then not play him. Right? Seth Griffiths, now he's on an AHL only deal. But, as a left winger goes, they get a lot of ice time, skilled player. He's a good veteran to have with your young guys. Then you got Savoy and you got Raphael Lavoie. You got Bourgault. You got Petrov. You've got Noah Philp, who the Oilers think, 6'3" right shot center. I mean, this guy's somebody who maybe could help us, right? Gruby, they really liked this season last year. Right? So they got 9 forwards right there. Not to mention, there's Drake Caggiula, there's Jake Chason, Carl Berglund. Although, I'm not sure, kind of where he slots in. Even James Steffen. So it's going to be good, healthy competition down there. It's what you want. And so all those young guys, the harsh reality is they're not all going to become NHL players. You'd love it, but it's just not going to happen. So, different players in different roles, like Noah Phillips, more of a penalty killing guy, win faceoffs, big, strong center iceman, right? Him and Gruby are kind of battling each other down there. But then you've got, Petrov and Raphael Lavoie and Bourgault, and, they're all right shot guys who can shoot the puck. They can't all make it. Right? The numbers just tell you that historically they're not going to. So who can separate themselves? Who's going to have a great off season of training? So the Edmonton Oilers are an established team, but their American League affiliate this year will have lots of young guys battling for ice time together. It's not just like it's one or two. Like, you can't forget Petrov. Right? I don't think you can forget James Hamlin. I don't think you can forget Noah Philp. So should be good. Now let's continue our off-season report brought to you by Action Electrical. And hey, you got to take action on your savings right now. Best way to do it, consider solar for both your home or if you got a business for your commercial. They can help you set up, tell you the best ways to get the savings that you can through the government. Go to actionelectrical.net is our next guest, of course, from TSN 1200 in Ottawa. He was on the road last night watching Canada taking on Argentina. Now, AJ, you've been a huge soccer fan, so I want to start there before we get to the CFL and the NHL. But I know you've been following Team Canada for a long, long time. When this tournament started, if someone had said, hey, AJ, they're going to face Argentina in the semis, you'd been like, oh, sign me up all day long. Like, it was just a great experience. I know that, Argentina is just a better team, and I think we saw that last night. Being in the stadium, what stood out to you as far as maybe the difference between the two teams last night?
Yeah, we're talking about a team that's lost 2 games in their last 62 and is number 1 in the world. And quite frankly, in the conversation right now for greatest international team of all time, only one team ever, and that's Spain, 2008, 2010, 2012, won 3 major tournaments in a row with a World Cup sandwich in between 2 major continental wins, and Argentina's on the verge of that with one more victory. So they're best in the world for a reason. I think Spain is probably the only true team right now on the planet that could give them a serious run for that title. And who knows, maybe we'll see them go at it in 2026 when the World Cup is here in North America. But while they weren't dominant for 90 minutes last night and certainly haven't been dominant throughout this tournament, they just know how to win and know how to finish, know how to take their chances. And to me, that was the difference. 37 touches in the box last night. Canada had 24 of them, but Argentina finished because they've got that little bit of extra quality on that last pass, and certainly when it comes to the last finish. So I thought Canada acquitted themselves tremendously. I did feel at the start of the tournament, I thought, okay, best case scenario, this is a winnable group in terms of not winning the group outright, but just getting out of the group with Chile and Peru. And I did see with not just Venezuela, but Ecuador, Mexico, and Jamaica, a path to the semifinals. They got there. It's a tremendous stepping stone now to 2026, and we'll see if they can build on that over the course of the next couple of years.
Like the biggest difference I noticed, AJ, was just the precision of passing at times from Argentina. Like Canada would have the ball and then they would just miss a pass and kind of ruins all the momentum. And now Argentina holds on to it for the next 2 or 3 minutes, right? Like that. And that just the elite ball handling and deft passing and touches is what I noticed to be the biggest difference. Like speed, Canada's just as fast. I don't see there, right? It's just those small little details that seem to be in favor of Argentina right now.
Well, you're talking about a country with 2 world-class players versus a country with about 15 or 16 world-class players. And to be honest, if you were to grade both Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies with how they've performed in this tournament, they haven't performed poorly, but they haven't performed at their best either. I think the big reason Canada got to the semifinals is just how so many others stepped up, whether it's Ishmael Kone or Jacob Schaffelberg, who's probably going to be in the team of the tournament, I would think, in the end. Maxim Crepeau in goal, the central defense pairing of Moise Bombito and Derek Cornelius. I mean, those have been the players that have really stepped up. And if you look at that qualifying run to 2022, it was Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Tajon Buchanan, Stefan Eustachio for sure, and some other veteran players that are maybe no longer with the program, like a Milan Borjan or a Stephen Vittoria, Junior Hoylett. So it is a changing of the guard. And when you look ahead to 2026, I feel a lot better of our chances. I mean, we're not going to win, but you've got a decent opportunity to get out of the group. You're not going to have to play any of the top 9 teams in the world for sure, because they're all going to be in pot 1 along with Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. So it's already a more favorable draw right out of the gate. And 32 teams out of 48 are going to get to the knockout stage. So there's a real opportunity to get there. I do feel like Canada's one of the best 32 teams in the world. If they get a favorable draw, maybe they can even win a knockout stage game or 2, as we've seen them compete and even beat some of these teams, at least in that mix in the top 32 in the world. So I think there's a lot to build on when you look forward to 2026. And to me, this tournament and including the pre-match friendlies against France and the Netherlands, who both made the semifinals of the Euros, they've shown, again, against top quality competition. Are they as good as these teams? No, they're not. There's no doubt about it. But they have shown that on their day, they've got the chance to do something special. And I think as Canada continues to build their depth, and if Canada's best players are their best players in 2026, it could be a fantastic run at that home World Cup.
AJ Jacobek joins us. AJ, let's switch over to the Senators, and then we'll get to the Red Blacks Elks game on Sunday. The Senators, of course, a big move with Linus Ullmark coming in. That's obviously their biggest acquisition. Then they traded Jacob Chychrun for Nick Jensen. I guess let's start with the goalie move. Like that seems like an obvious upgrade in Ullmark for Korpisalo. But they gave up a lot in the sense that it's only a 1-year deal. What do you think the odds are that he re-signs in Ottawa?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the way I view it is just when you look at that deal in its entirety, I think it's worth the gamble anyways. I mean, yeah, it's a 25th overall pick, but you're happy to get rid of that Korpisalo contract. And Mark Kastelic, I mean, there's a guy from my hometown of St. Albert and Zach Ostapchuk that whether he's ready this year, whether they bring in another veteran fourth line center here in the next couple of months on a PTO or whatever it might be, it just felt like he was going to be passed. And so to really only have to give up the 25th overall pick and to package, you're taking on 25% of that Korpisalo contract, but he's got 4 more years left. So to me, that's a win, even if it's 1 year of Ullmark. And if you can convince him that this is the place to be for him long term, then it's a grand slam home run. So I love what the Senators have done this offseason. I mean, the return, when you look at it just on its own, on the Chychrun trade, especially in light of what they gave up, it does look a little bit underwhelming. But Nick Jensen's exactly the type of player that this team needs. They went out, they got some veterans, some guys that have won before, like David Perron and Michael Amadio, who spent some time in this organization before he won a cup in Vegas. They didn't need to go out and get the flashy guys. They needed a right shot defenseman that could play 20 minutes a game and kill some penalties. They needed some veteran forwards that could insulate this group and also provide some leadership. So I do think they've made the moves necessary, and that includes the head coach and Travis Green. And now it's just about getting off to a good start, because those last couple of spots in the East, I look at the divisions and you say, okay, probably Carolina. Jersey looks to have made the necessary moves this offseason, and they shored up their goaltending and defense as well. And the Rangers, those are the 3 teams probably in the Metro. In the Atlantic, it's probably Florida, Boston, and Toronto again. And to me, those last 2 spots are up for grabs, including Tampa, because I'm not sold that their downward spiral, and it's not really a spiral, but they have declined the last couple of seasons. I'm not convinced that is over. So to me, those last 2 spots are open, and I feel like Ottawa, along with Detroit and Tampa Bay, should be the teams that are right there battling for them. If Ottawa can find a way to get out of the gate and play a little bit better defensively, just help out their goaltenders a little bit more. And with that goaltending of Linus Ullmark, a guy that's won a Vezina Trophy in the last couple of years, to me, this is an Ottawa team that should be a lot better next season.
AJ Jakubek joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. The Red Blacks, the Elks, of course, off to a terrible start again. They are 0-4, and I didn't like their quarterback play at all last week. But Ottawa comes in, they're 2-2. What do you make of the Red Blacks start? And what would be the one area the Elks should be most concerned about offensively on the Red Blacks?
Yeah, I mean, 2-2, unconvincing. But for me, from an Ottawa perspective, they've won a couple of games that they had lost in recent years. And I don't have to tell Edmonton fans about that, because they've seen the same movie with the Elks. I mean, those have been the 2 worst teams in the CFL the last 3 seasons. And even when they look good, both teams have found ways to lose in recent seasons. So the fact that Ottawa won a couple of those close ones in the end is an encouraging sign, but they have to play a lot better. I think there's not one aspect of this team that looks super dangerous right now. The run game's pretty good. I think they found a pretty good replacement for Devontae Williams, who was the team's most outstanding player last year, ran for over 1,000 yards, and unfortunately he suffered an Achilles injury in the offseason. Raquel Rock Armstead, who played a little bit in Jacksonville in the NFL, out of Temple, and they've had great luck out of Temple. Henry Burris out of there, along with Avery Williams and Avery Ellis, amongst others. Armstead's been great. A guy with a real burst as a runner and a power runner as well. So he looks like a guy that could be the real deal for Ottawa at running back. They've got 4,000-yard receivers from recent years: Justin Hardy, Jalen Acklin, Raylan Addison, and Dominique Grimes, but they've just looked a little bit out of sync there. And there's a player by the name of Khalil Pimpleton, who I don't think we're going to see this week, that has the ability potentially to be a game breaker in this league. I'd watch out for that name in coming years. He's got 4.2, 4.3 type speed and looked great in camp, looked great in preseason. There's just not room to put him on the roster because you've got those 4 American receivers, all with pedigree, and you've got Devontae Dedmon, who is back to being the most electrifying return man in the Canadian Football League. So Dedmon's probably the most dangerous guy on this team, but offensively, it's been sporadic, and we don't know who's going to start at quarterback this week because Drew Brown practiced today, but it was limited. They split the reps with Dustin Crum, and still has to pass a couple more steps in concussion protocol. So it's encouraging that he was actually practicing today, even in a limited sense. But, if he's not able to go, it will be Dustin Crum Sunday in Edmonton against the Elks.
Well, that's a big story to watch then. We probably won't know till Friday.
Yeah, I think as the week progresses, I don't know exactly the timeline on when he will finish up every part of that concussion protocol. I believe it's like 5 or 6 different steps. And I think Ottawa, the thing about starting 2-2, I don't think this is a must win. I feel like they need to find a way to get a split because of course it's a home and home, but they're going to take as much time as possible and want to ensure that Drew Brown is healthy for the long haul. So, and especially when it comes to a head injury like that, you don't want to take any chances with anyone's health. So yeah, we'll find out later this week, but in the meantime, it's still a question mark.
What's a bigger surprise with you? The Riders are 4-0 or the Tiger Cats are 0-5?
I'll say the Riders. I felt like Hamilton was a team that, I was a little concerned if I was a Ticats fan. I mean, obviously this doesn't hurt Ottawa. If they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to have to finish ahead of a team like that. I felt like that was a team that could be picked off. We'll wait and see, not completely writing them off, but the way they've performed in a couple of those games, especially defensively, wouldn't be encouraging. But I am surprised on Saskatchewan. I was in wait and see mode. I know it seemed like everyone loved their off season, and I liked a lot of it as well. But you've got 9 coaches in the CFL, and 7 of them have won a Grey Cup. And the fact that Corey Mace has come in year 1, I mean, I've seen it with Rick Campbell. Saw it last year with Bob Dice as well. You can be a great coach and coordinator in this league. And, sometimes it takes some time to really get a grasp of what you need to do in that role. I think probably the best example of that is Jason Moss, great offensive coordinator here at Ottawa with the Red Blacks back in 2015. And I think a lot of great qualities to be a head coach, but, probably let his emotions get the best of him too much at times in Edmonton. And you see now he's figured that out. He's figured a lot of different things out. Always a great football guy. And now that's a well-oiled machine with the Alouettes in Montreal. So that was my big question in Saskatchewan was Corey Mace and how he would handle everything, especially in football mad Saskatchewan. But so far, so good out of the gate. And we'll see a big test against the BC Lions this weekend.
Aja, when you watch from afar on the Elks and they continue to find ways to lose close games, do you see, like, to me, I'm like, hey, you are what your record says. You can talk all you want about it, but they find ways to lose games because their quarterback, who's a veteran, misses a wide open receiver that would have been a touchdown, and 2 plays later, they throw an interception. And then later in the game, he throws an interception when he had a guy on the other side of the field wide open. So where are you at on the Elks? How bad do you think this is going to get? It's hard to get worse than 0-4, but we saw it last year when they started 0-8. And are you surprised that Trey Ford is getting no sniff?
Yeah, I'll answer the first part on it. They scare me a lot these next couple of weeks. And like I said, I'd be thrilled with a split. And I know you want to win both games, so you take them one at a time. But I think if Ottawa got a split here at 3-3, knowing that, that would put Edmonton at 1-5, Hamilton's 0-5, and Winnipeg's out of the gate at 1-4. They'd be in a pretty good spot if they continue to progress in the last 2/3 of the season. Now, they started 3-3 last year, and it didn't end well, just 1 win in their last 12. But I view the Elks as a real scary team. Now, I've seen this movie before, not just in Ottawa, but in other places around the league where you lose those 4 games by a very small margin. And I think the concern in Edmonton with this group would be, if you keep finding ways to lose, at what point does this team start to maybe not believe on some things? So that's why I think this is such a crucial game for the Elks and a 2-game set where, they're going to be looking the same as Ottawa. They're going to be looking across at each other thinking, we need to win these football games. So A lot to prove for both of these teams this week. I do see a lot of improvement. This doesn't look like some of the sad sack Elks teams that we've seen for a couple of these seasons, much like I don't think it looks like some of the sad sack Red Blacks teams that we saw that only won 14 games over 4 years. But you still have to go out and get it done. And I feel like when you've got that losing culture that starts to seep in, it's tough to get out of that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I want to see Ottawa win these 2 games. But as someone that grew up in Edmonton, and my first taste of CFL football was the early 80s and going to games and the end of the dynasty, Warren Moon and that crew. I mean, I want to see, healthy Edmonton franchise with new ownership. And, they're never going to get 50, 60,000 people again. I don't think that's realistic, but you want to see games where it's 25, 30,000 there again. And like I know, having grown up there, and the Oilers are king there, and I get that. But I see the pictures of crowds at Riverhawks games, and for a level of baseball that's not even professional. So people will go out and support a winner. And I'm sure once they get new ownership combined with some wins, they'll be able to turn that franchise around again. But I'm hopeful that they can start with some wins this year, just maybe not in the next couple of weeks.
Age, always good to catch up with you, man. Are you going to the third place game?
No, I'm coming to Edmonton on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So I got to the game in New York, got to the game in Kansas City against Peru, and just to finish up on that, I mean, just a phenomenal experience. There's probably 5,000 Canadians in the stadium, but just the march in, and I'd done the march in Qatar, and I'd seen some of the videos of them meeting the bus at World Cup qualifying in Toronto and Hamilton, which were some great scenes. But in talking to people that were at all of those things, and I was at a lot of them, that march with about 2,000 people going through the tunnel, heading to the Meadowlands was just phenomenal. I was right in the middle, and just seeing fans streaming down the stairs in the parking lot and going through the tunnel and hearing noise both where you were, ahead of you, behind you. I mean, I get jealous watching those videos of fans at the Euros, for example, the left-right dance that the Dutch have done.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, geez, I'd love to one day see something like that with Canada. And then to experience that heading to the Meadowlands, even with 5,000 people, was pretty phenomenal. So hopefully we can keep building that soccer culture. Would love to see professional soccer back in Edmonton. I think, that's something that the Canadian Premier League needs to work on. But I feel like something really special is starting to build in this country when it comes to soccer. And hopefully we see some more excitement over the next couple of years leading into the World Cup.
That should be great. Age, always going to catch up with you, man. We'll see you on the weekend.
Beauty, sounds good, Jason. Take care.
There you go. That's AJ Jakubek joining us from Ottawa. So soccer and hockey and football all wrapped up in one. We'll come back. We got 5 questions. Then we got Speck will join us. We'll talk a little bit more big news in the basketball world on a busy Wednesday, hot edition of the Jason Gregor Show, live in the E-Well studio, your electrical supplier since 1976 for the City of Champions and all of Alberta. EWEL.ca.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The Cheesy Burger Pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's. Johns.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Hey, Leduc, can leading edge physiotherapy help you? Well, this is a question I face every day. Let me answer the best I can. Do you have a pain or injury to your toe, foot, ankle, knee, hip, lower back, middle back, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, or finger? Are you dealing with a sprain, strain, fracture, tendonitis, bursitis, arthritis, dizziness, balance issues, surgery, whiplash, or headache? Okay, I can't list all the problems that we can help in leading edge physio in under 30 seconds, and I can't promise we fix everyone. But I can promise that we'll combine our experience, skills, technology, and hands-on care to give you an edge. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
The Bricks Appliance Super Sale is here for all your home outfitting needs. Check out amazing deals on all major appliances, like chest freezers starting at just $199 and washer and dryer packages for under $1,500. Plus, shop incredible deals in other departments, like up to $920 off sofas and sectionals. This summer, the Bricks Appliance Super Sale has got you covered. Whether you're looking for items as big as a fridge or as small as a kettle. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
What's cracking at Cattail? Maybe you've got the next tiger on your hands. Cattail Crossing offers young golfers Operation 36, a program to improve their growing skill set with other golfers their age. To register, email proshop@cattailcrossing.ca.
I've been hanging around gas stations. Talking to grease monkeys. Been working on cars.
A hot Wednesday. Hope you're staying cool wherever you are listening. Sports1440.ca. Of course, live on Sports 1440. Maybe you're watching on Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. We say hello to you there. Those watching the stream on Twitter as well and on Instagram. It's fantastic. The advancements in technology today that you can listen and watch the radio in a sense as we combine it on YouTube. So it's loads of fun. People watching on Twitter, streaming. It's awesome. Awesome stuff. You know what else is awesome? 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where think about, like, imagine, I wish I had one of these. The cooler chests. So it's $199. You can get it at The Brick. I want one where, you got the recliner, you've got the cooler chest right there. You just pop it open, boom. Nice cold one. Because trust me, if you have a basement in your home, this is the day when you walk in the house from work, you're like, hello, how are you? I'm going to the basement just to cool down after a hot day and get one of those chests right now at only $199 at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1 for you today. Since we had Colin Chock on the show, Condors head coach, I want to ask you this. Who is 1 or 2 likely Condors that you think you'll be keeping an eye on next season?
Well, it's obvious. Matt Savoy, guy's a 2-point-a-game player. There's no one else in that roster who's a 2-point-a-game player in junior. So he is one. But there's actually quite a few. I don't think he's NHL ready next season, but I'm really interested to watch the development of Max Wayner on the back end. This is somebody who has just continued to develop and grow and really in leaps and bounds. Noah Philp, because 2 years ago, his second half of the season, he was trending as someone I thought the Oilers thought that he could come in a training camp last year and compete. Now, maybe he still will. Right? Maybe the year off, everything's good. But, will his timing be there? I don't know. But I'm guessing he'll play, maybe a few more games in the preseason. So those would probably be my top three. Xavier Bourgault, I guess, would be the other one for me because after last year, you know what? He didn't train the way that benefited him the best. And I think that hurt him all season long. So I would think that he'll be a guy who's in third year pro now and is looking to make a bigger impact.
One for me, Olivier Rodrigue between the pipes. I want to see what he's going to do next season. And Bo Akey, is he going to be sticking around in the OHL?
Well, I got to look at his birthday, but I don't think Bo Akey can he play in
Feb 11?
Yeah, he's not. No, he's not old enough. He has to either play in the NHL or he'll be back in junior. He's only 19 years of age, so no, he'll. And you got to remember he didn't play very much, right? He only played 12, 13 games. So no, Bo Akey, I will say guarantee is going to be back in the Ontario Hockey League where he should be. Just get it, dominating that league. I want that 19-year-old season for him to dominate, maybe push to get a spot on the World Junior team. Right? It's hard when you miss your 18-year-old season, but that's where he's going to be. Yeah, he's not an AHLer.
9 points, 14 games. Someone I will be watching, not in the AHL. Question number 2 for you, since we talked video games with Arda Okal earlier on today about his little documentary they got going on ESPN's YouTube. Of all the hockey games created, do you have a favorite?
Well, I didn't play a lot of them. So, Blades of Steel would be one, but honestly, I didn't. The one I played the most was in television, which isn't even rated, nor should it be, because it was hockey, but it wasn't. Anybody who played it can attest it wasn't the best. So, I guess I would go with Blades of Steel. Although I have been playing a tournament with my son on my my stand-up console that I have now, and it has NHL 94.
Okay.
And I quite like that one. So I guess maybe I'd go NHL 94. It's probably the one I played the most because him and I have a season-long tournament going on.
Yeah, I mean, I loved all the NHL games, but two that come to mind, NHL Hits. It was like NFL Blitz, right? Where you're just going over-the-top violence. And Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey for N64 was another one me and the buddies love to play. So lots of good ones there for that. Question number 3 for you. Will the Canadian men's Olympic basketball team reach or surpass what Canada did at COPA?
At the Olympics. So they're going to get into the semifinal. Ooh, that's a really good question. They easily could, man. Their team is deep. I'd like to see the draw because that could impact it a lot. But I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say they could get into the semifinal. I think they might have the same result, but yeah, the Canadian men's team is good. Like the U.S. men's team is number 1 in basketball for sure. But after that, is there any reason why that Canada can't compete with those Euro nations?
No. You got SGA. You got Jamal Murray in the backcourt. I think that's going to be fun to watch. I will say yes. I'll say they'll match. Don't know if they'll get to the gold medal game, but hey, why not believe and hope they can find their way into a bronze medal at the Olympics? It's going to be awesome. Question number 4 for you. Euro final now set. Spain and England meeting on Sunday from Berlin, 1:00. Who's your pick to win it all?
Well, so England's, anybody who wasn't watching today, England scored in the 90th minute to win that game 2-1. They needed penalty kicks to get by Switzerland earlier in the quarters. You know what? My head would say Spain, but I'm going to go with England. I just feel, you know what? They're kind of due to win a major one. So I'll say England.
It's coming home. Yeah, I've been an England fan my whole life. But when they always would suck, my backup team was Spain just because I liked Fernando Torres, who played for Liverpool. So I kind of...
So now you're on the fence. You're going to give me the,
no.
well, I'm happy either way.
No, okay. I when England when Spain was winning their Euros and World Cup, I never proclaimed to be a fan. I just have a soft spot for them. Right. But it's coming home. I've been saying that since the start of the tournament here, so I can't change my opinion now. They haven't been the prettiest way, but they're getting the job done. Today was fantastic drama, so I'll stick with England and say it's coming home on Sunday. Final question for you. Thomas Ian Nicholas, actually a friend of this show, the star of Rookie of the Year in American Pie, celebrates his birthday today. So we could go baseball movies, but I've asked you that before. So I'm asking you this. American Pie, a classic coming-of-age cinema. We're talking high school or college movies. what would be a couple that top your list?
Well, old school for sure, because of college. Will Ferrell. So many good lines in that movie. So that would be one. Other set in high school. The one that I chuckled at was when the two guys were the cops and they go, oh God.
Superbad?
No.
No?
Well, actually, you know what? Yes, I'll put Superbad.
The two cops came to mind.
No, not Seth Rogen, but oh God, I can't remember their name right now. Why can't I remember his name? Like he's in Superbad. Why can't I remember his name? God,
Michael Cera, Jonah Hill.
No, Jonah Hill. Yeah. So when Jonah Hill, remember
21 Jump Street.
Yes, 21 and 22 Jump
Yeah.
Street. I just kind of found it funny, like so stupid, but funny. But yeah, no, I'll take old school all day long. And yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I mean that's a classic, as is Superbad.
No,
Now-
Superbad is the first 30 minutes of Superbad is undeniably funny.
So good. I do think it does kind of drop off when it gets a little serious, but it's still good.
Yeah.
Still good moments. Now, see, I didn't say like coming of age. I just said film set in high school or college. So how would I throw Remember the Titans at you?
No, buddy, that's an unbelievable movie. I watched it the other day.
So with your son?
Movie. Yeah. No, he wasn't home. But that's another show. When it comes on, I'm like, I'm Gary Bertier, are you kidding me? Oh, love that movie. And the fact that it's based on a true story, I like it even more.
Oh yeah. T.C. Williams. Left side. Strong side. A lot of like the good football. Friday Night Lights, Varsity Blues. There's a lot of good high school football movies.
Varsity Blues is just more I remember the first time I saw that movie and the whipped cream scene.
Yeah.
I was like, hello, what is happening here? So,
absolute classic.
If you haven't seen the movie, you should. And if you have, you know the scene. Hey guys, what about Breakfast Club? Oh, you know what? Breakfast Club is a classic, Evan. God, it had it had the geek and it had the nerd. It had all of them come together. It was really good. Kind of ahead of its time, really. When you look back on that show now, I think it ages pretty well. Like that was Molly Ringwald. That was kind of during her heyday, right? Like she had a good, 3-4 year run, 16 Candles, few other ones, but never really anything after that, right? Like when she got into her early 20s, did she do anything? Now, maybe she was 20 when she did those movies, so I don't want to age her, but she kind of had a good 4 or 5 year run, and then it was kind of done. Haven't seen much of Molly since. Guys, how'd you not go with American Pie? Good one.
We use that in the questions.
Yeah, fair point. American Pie is classic. Hey, Gregor, I doubt Connor's seen it, but I know you have. Porky's. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, Cons hasn't seen that. Revenge of the Nerds would be another one. But, God, Porky's, man. I saw the original one way back when. So, yeah. It didn't age very well.
I was going to say, I've heard of Porky's.
Yeah, no, it was, at the time, it was classic. Like classic on what it wasn't, I shouldn't say classic because that makes it seem like it was a great movie. It wasn't a great movie, but it was for the genre of its time. It was eye-opening. You're a teenager and you're like, oh, it's probably the first time maybe in your life you saw a little nudity and you're like, what is going on here? So yeah. Like I liked Fast Times at Ridgemount High way more. Spicoli, Sean Penn. Like, actually, if you look at his career, Sean Penn is probably one of the best diverse actors going. Like, look at the different scenes and, like, the different characters he played, man. He was unreal in lots of different shows. But Spicoli, like, I remember watching, like, the first time, and then, like, so many years later, you're like, God, that was Sean Penn. Like, he was so different in lots of his different roles afterwards. But, God, at Spicoli, he was amazing. So, yeah. Fast Times at Ridgemount High. That was another classic teenage movie. Right? Like and again, we talked about this earlier in our video games. So I'll remember that when those teenage years are some of the movies you're going to love, some of the music you love, some of the games that you'll love the best. So, yeah, like if I watch Fast Times at Ridgemount, well, I would still laugh because of Spicoli. A few of the other scenes, sure, but more so Spicoli. Like when imagine ordering pizza to your high school class. Like, could you even do that in high school today? I wonder. Like, do they allow it? Let's skip the dishes. Now, tell me, kids, anybody out there, I'm assuming you can order skip to high school. I have no idea. Not in high school. But I wonder. Can you do it?
You would need a credit card, right?
Well, yeah, lots of kids have a credit
When do you
card.
get a credit card? I didn't get one when I was.
Well, no. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Just maybe borrow the parents' credit card.
Yeah, somebody has one. Yeah, it's probably somebody. Hey, maybe you're taking grade 12 for the second time. You're an overager. Hey, old Bobby over there,
coolest kid in school.
Yeah, somebody out there, let me know. I'm assuming you can do it. I could be wrong though. Maybe that just goes to the front. Doesn't go to your room though, right? So maybe you can't. It would probably make sense that you couldn't. Otherwise, kids would be ordering it all the time. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Albatross Roofing. They are hiring. They're looking for experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators. Steady ongoing work and industry-leading wages and benefits. Apply now at roofingalbatross.ca.
Earlier today at the Euros, England victorious over Netherlands 2-1. Ollie Watkins with a goal in the 90th minute to send them to the final, where they'll take on Spain. That'll go Sunday at 1 o'clock. On the other side of the pond, Copa America tonight, Uruguay takes on Colombia. That gets going at 6 o'clock out in Charlotte. Winner of this one will meet Argentina. The loser takes on Canada for third spot. Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays are in action tonight, set to take on the Giants just after 7:45. Two finals from earlier today. The Royals knocked off the Cards 6-4. And it was the White Sox defeating the Twins 3-1, both those games. Game one of their doubleheader. Game two, Twins, White Sox going on right now. Minnesota leading 3-2. Other scores, you got the Cubs up on the Orioles 2-0. Tigers lead the Guardians by that same score. Mariners have a 1-0 lead over the Padres. And the Yankees-Rays currently scoreless. The Riverhawks in action once again tonight, taking on Wenatchee. Again, that one gets going just after 8 o'clock. We've got some exhibition basketball getting ready for the Olympics in Paris. Canada takes on the United States from Las Vegas. Tip-off at 8:30. Derek White was named to the U.S. men's team as a replacement for Kawhi Leonard. And in the WNBA, Mercury over the Wings 100-84. Dream fall to the sky 78-69. Mystics over the Fever 89-84. And the Liberty defeat the Connecticut Sun 71-68. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Paul Sir, host of the Basketball Show. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, Elks fans.
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge
Connor Halley. I love it. You know what I love about summertime? Hey, we can talk lots of sports, but you mix in some other topics. We had Arda Ocal in the first hour talking video games. Text line was going crazy over that one. Lots of opinions and thoughts on favorite hockey video games. Totally valid. Lots of different good ones. Then we discuss movies, and a lot of texts coming in. Of course, American Graffiti for a little bit, maybe older generation. That is a sick movie. Cons, you ever seen American Graffiti? Well, let me reword that. You should see American Graffiti.
I should, yeah. Put it on the list.
Yeah. So, Fast Times at Ridgemount High. A lot of, hey guys, what about Phoebe Cates' smoke show? Yes, she was. What about Jennifer Jason Leigh? Like, oh man, Jennifer Jason Leigh. She became like one of those secret crush girls I had later on in movies. Oof. Like her and because Nicolas Cage and her, remember Nicolas Cage. A lot of people don't even know that Nicolas Cage was in Fast Times at Ridgemount High. Not as a main guy, right? But he was one of Brad's buddies in the movie. And then him and Jennifer Jason Leigh, of course, became big stars together later on. So nice. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Happy Wednesday to you. You made it through it. It was hot, record-breaking hot day today. So now tonight would be amazing if we could get like a good rain tonight, although it doesn't look like there's any in the forecast, just to cool it down because, man, it is hot out there. So please be smart. There's been more reports, unfortunately, of people leaving their pets in vehicles. Do not do it. Do not do it. It's awful. They had to break in and rescue a dog. Owner shows up 45 minutes later. Like, what the person think was going to happen? And then they get charged. So please care about your kids, care about yourself, care about your animals. Don't put them in your vehicles. Let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction. Hey, shout out to all the people working construction today. GS, keep hydrated. Drive safe through the construction zones. Let them all get home safe and sound because it is hot on the construction line today. Mark Spector joins us. He was out at the Kevin Carius golf tournament. Was Spec today. Hacking it up, Spec?
Oh, yeah. Nothing but smooth swings on this end. You know what? That was my first game of golf all season. Haven't played a single game until today. So it was fun. I had some good shots and some kind of rusty ones. But you know what?
Now,
one's watching.
Did you go to the driving range before you played?
This morning I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I hit about 30 balls. I mean, how much more can a guy practice?
No, well, it's true. No, I was just wondering if you're like, it's my first round. I'm not even going to go to the driving range. Just see how it goes.
Trunk to tee, Jason. Trunk to tee. That's
exactly.
my style.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with it. A hot day out there today for sure. Man, I was crushing waters. Woo. Course in great shape, though. I'll say that. It's a good time.
Kev runs a great tournament. He's been doing it for a long time. They raise a ton of money. Everyone's out there, reaches in their pocket doing it. You know, this is part of our community, things like that. I'm in my truck right now. No, I'm not driving. Shelky is, but it says 37 degrees in my truck here.
Oh my God.
So she was for sure a 35-degree day on the golf course, and the place was packed. There wasn't a cart without two people in it today, I thought.
No, it was. Now, did you talk to Carius? Because he always used to have longest drive hole on where you beat him, whatever, and you do a little bet and it goes to Easter Seals. And but he downgraded to the par 3. Has he lost his distance? Is that what we uncovered today? Is this a guy who's on the downside of his golfing career?
Yeah, on the back 9, I think, Jason, is what we would call it. He's on the back 9, pretty much of life, let's face it. Yeah, and when we went up there, we were about the 6th or 7th group through, and he still missed the green by a mile. So, yeah, I would say Kev's golf game is, for a guy that plays every Sunday with Murray McCourt down at the ranch, I thought he'd be a better player than he is, yeah.
I like it. Spec, what did you make of the game last night, Canada Argentina?
What did I make of it? I went into it like all Canadians with this hope of a miracle win and a USA in 1980 type situation. And to be honest, it's the disparity between the two teams was evident throughout. Canada did some good things; they were okay. But I guess I'd just say to you, Jay, it's almost like, if I could bring it down to terms that maybe we can understand, it's almost like a Div 1 team against a Div 5 team. there's a few guys on the Div 5 teams that can play in that game, but not enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt man for man, battle for battle, each time two players, met each other in an offensive defensive posture. The Argentinian was the better soccer player, most times. And over the course of 90 minutes, they didn't need as clean a chance to create a scoring opportunity. Canada needs a much cleaner chance. So, I'm not a soccer expert, but what I saw was a very, very good team that did not allow some miracle, magical game by a team that's trying to be that good one day.
I don't know, Spec, this story, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but Jonte Porter, he pled guilty today to conspiracy to commit wire fraud in the gambling scandal that got him banished by the NBA. He now faces up to potentially 20 years in jail. Now, historically, probably won't get that much, but so this is, this is much more serious than people think. Like, it's not just the betting on sports scandal. Like, this is commit wire fraud. Like, there is a lot of issues here at play for a guy who is could suddenly find himself potentially, not potentially. Like, there's a really good chance he'll be facing jail time here.
He's not even a starter, right?
No,
he's like a number 7 or 8.
No, I don't even know if he was that high. He's probably more of a 10.
Right. So I would ask a couple questions. How does he influence a game that you're not even sure he's going to play in? Wire fraud would tell me that there's obviously, he's into some serious money movement, right? Part and parcel of this fraudulent gambling situation. I think that's what wire fraud generally talks about is you're moving money, saying it's one thing, but it's something else. It sounds like the guy's in a heap of trouble, pal.
Oh, dude. Well, how he did it, Spec, was because people were betting on really odd parts of his game where, like, he would play like 4 minutes and he was going to get 2 shots and different rebounds. And then he was close to it. So then suddenly he claimed he was hurt. Yeah. Like, no, if you read the story on it, it was clear that he didn't do a very good job of hiding the fact that he was in it. Was pretty obvious, and that's why he got busted on it. But that story just came down. I just saw it, so I thought that was kind of an interesting one.
Well, Jay, and I know that your show and our station here is we have some sponsors, Play Alberta and things like that. I work for Rogers Sportsnet, and I don't need to tell our listeners how our broadcasts have become inundated with sports gambling ads. You watch TSN Sportscast, they have a section, like an actual part of every sports center that's sponsored by a betting site, and they give you odds all the time, odds. Was this not inevitable, Jay, that something like this would worm its way into professional sports?
I guess, well, considering it happened before this, though, when there wasn't even the big gambling sites, right? You look at the NBA betting scandal, right? And so, to me, when you consider how many millions and billions of people there are, and so to have one case, I'm not surprised, no, right? And it's one where there's majority of people will handle it right, and there'll be a small group of people that don't, and that seems to get way more attention than normal, unfortunately. But I know, the rules are pretty set out. So if you're this guy, like, you've decided that you're going to try to cheat the system, and for whatever reason you got desperate and you kept digging yourself, the shovel was never put down and just kept digging deeper and deeper. But I've talked to a lot of the players who they know the rules on what, and they're like, it's not hard to not bet on my sport. Like, I have no interest in it. Like, I want to be a professional athlete. Like, it's pretty cut and dry. So don't be an idiot.
Well, it is, but what happens, right? Probably the guy, usually things like this are tied to some kind of mob involvement, generally speaking. And once you start working for them, now you can't stop working for them. I don't know the case of this guy. I don't know what he's doing, but when I see when you talk about a guy that got in and couldn't get out, a lot of illegal gambling rings are run by organized crime. And to me, the minute if you're going to tell me I'm going to just run a bunch of legal gambling sites, and organized crime is going to step aside and let me run my sites, and they're not going to get in the way, it doesn't work that way. They don't just cede territory the way you think they might. So it's perilous. That's all. When you open the door to gambling, you open the door to gamblers and you open the door to a lot of things. And now we're just seeing sometimes the mouse creeps in the winter, right? Gets in your house.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be more conversations from the leagues and their players on how to be smarter about this. And you know what? It's probably a good learning, a reminder for all of the other athletes who are involved in this. Like, don't.
And Shane Pinto, right? Shane Pinto. Like, I'm not even positive what happened with him, but if you don't think every NHL player didn't take notice that Shane Pinto missed a bunch, half a season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, like what player who's making an NHL salary would put that at risk for a couple of bets? How dumb would you have to be?
Yeah, well, you clearly it happens, and they don't get out of their own way. That's very very well put. Spec, go get a shower on, and we'll chat with you tomorrow.
All right, Jay, have a great night.
Yeah, they're saying now the record today, as I'm reading this, coming down from the Weather Network, 35.7 degrees today, which ranks as the fourth hottest day ever in Edmonton. Now, June 30th, 2021 was hotter. So it's not like it's that long ago. Then you got to go back to like the 1800s. But so if you're out there today and you're like, whew, it's pretty crispy. Yes, there has been, for most people alive, there's been like one other day that you've been around for that's hotter than today in the Edmonton area. So please be smart with, everything's going to get really dry here. Please don't throw cigarette butts out the window. Don't be less than intelligent around fires and different places like that. So, because when it gets this hot for this long, like it's supposed to be, it's the one thing we don't want is fires, because then you're living with the smoke all the time. So let's all collectively try to remind each other to be smart in that regard. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we got lots of text. I do want to get to this one. Hey, Gregor, did you see that video from Rempe practicing with George Laraque? How scary do you think that will be for? Well, Matt Rempe, first of all, you know what? You have the opportunity to guys. Hey, Matt Rempe is going to work to to become a better fighter, because he probably wants to have a longer career. But Matt would also be the first one to tell you that as much as he's spending this week working with George, that's great. He's going to spend and he's already been spending time, and he's going to spend more time working on skating, shooting skill, because, hey, big and tough is one thing, but Rempe made an impression in his games by being physical, not just fighting, right? Fighting was one aspect, of course, right? The crowd, he was an instant fan favorite. And when you're 6 foot, what is he? 6'7" on skates? It's like 6'9", right? Close to 6'10". He's huge. He's towering. And, he stands out. But when you're physical and you can do all that other stuff, well, then he's going to get to play more. So you do the fighting because, hey, you want to protect. And hey, and people say, oh, he'll never play in the playoffs. He played 11 games in the playoffs for the Rangers. So don't, as a rookie, right? As a rookie. So good for him. He can skate for a big man. So you know what? I feel sorry for any of the other pugilists, but he's not the first tough guy that's out there still honing his craft, and that's part of his craft. So it's not necessarily, I would think, the fun part. But I noticed the video George put up today. They were working on uppercuts. Probably because in Rempe's case, most of the guys he's fighting are shorter than him. And, if they all of a sudden duck down, well, then try to feed them one. So, yeah, not, it's a reminder of, hey, that's a gig that, man, I wouldn't wish on anyone. So good for him that he can do it. But it's a tough job for sure. But I hope in Rempe's case, he just continues to work on his skill development and becomes a regular guy who has an intangible that very few have. And that makes you valuable. George Laraque, right? People remember George's fights, but you also remember George's hat trick, right? You remember his goal celebration, right? He became a guy who wanted to play. And George has said this on our show and many other shows, how he didn't like fighting. And he did it because it allowed him to stay in the NHL. And I think Matt Rempe knows, hey, I'm here because of this one element, but I got to maintain it, but I want to work on the other ones. Quick break. We'll come back and we will talk about, Connor asked a really good question earlier. And we are just over 2 weeks away from the Olympics. So we'll talk about expectations of a team. Can they be as good as the men's soccer team has here in the Copas? We'll discuss it next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 62, never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly, a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
NASCAR Canada only makes one stop in Alberta. And that one stop is Edmonton International Raceway in Wetaskiwin.
The NASCAR Napa 300 is coming July 26th and 27th. Experience NASCAR excitement as internationally renowned racers
like Andrew Ranger, Kevin LaCroix, and DJ Kennington
compete for the national championship on our paved oval track. Tickets are moving fast.
Get yours at edmontonraceway.com.
FUT or FUE? Which hair transplant is right for me?
I like a long and flowing mane.
I want to trim mine short again.
Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I've used both FUT and FUE transplants to help thousands save their hair, including my own. Choosing the right one depends on how your hair looks now and how you plan to wear it in the future. I can help match you with the right procedure to create the most natural results. Visit drvanceelliott.com today.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Diablo Boots has been open for business for 60 years, selling Canadian-made quality boots. Diablo has Canada West work, biker, and cowboy boots with fixable soles and heels. So why buy boots like Area, Justin, or Red Wing that are made in China? Get your money's worth with Diablo's Canada West tough, comfortable work boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. And does Diablo sell the best boots in town? You betcha.
Some people see their RV as a way to travel the countryside and explore the great outdoors. For others, it's more like a summer cottage. Sure, it's got wheels, but that doesn't mean that you have to roll it around all the time. And I know someone who uses his RV exactly like this. It's Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Hey Rick, when was the last time you hooked up your trailer and took it somewhere?
Been years, Bob.
You just leave it in one place?
Well, you have to see our campsite. It's near Seba Beach. There's lots of privacy. It's a heavily wooded area, but very close to the lake, with full water and electrical hookup. So my wife, Deanna, and I enjoy cottage life with all its beauty and all the comforts of home.
And the RV you use as a cottage, did you buy it new?
Bob, what are you, nuts? I can happily find you an RV as nice as mine. Got dozens of them on the lot right now. And Deanna and I are living proof that you don't have to pay new RV prices to live the dream.
And that's no
NobleRV.ca.
Summer in the city, back of my neck getting dirty gritty.
Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hey, guys, did you say England won? Yes, they scored in the 90th minute today to down the Netherlands 2-1. So it'll be England and Spain. Later on tonight, the Copa Americas second semifinal. Colombia and Uruguay. And of course, the winner will face Argentina. The loser will face Canada. Canada, that third place game will go Saturday at 6 p.m. And then the final for Copas Americas is Sunday, 6 o'clock. Edmonton time. You have so I guess, hey, there's no conflict if you want to go to the Elks game, because Elks game is Sunday at 5. Canada, third place game is Saturday at 6. And Connor Halley had a really good question earlier on, talking about expectations, as we are just over 2 weeks away from the Olympics. So we'll get to our basketball report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. And you could use it today, baby. If you don't have one, you probably want to get one. legacyheating.ca. As Paul Sir, host of the basketball show on Sports 1440 every Saturday morning from 10 until noon. And Paul, Connor asked the question earlier. The men's basketball team, can they have as much success as the soccer team, thus getting to the semifinals at the Olympics? What say you?
Well, I says that, yeah, they can, if they can survive their pool play.
Yeah.
They have an unbelievably difficult pool. So a team that comes out of there will be definitely battle tested. But this is a talented team. It's going to be real interesting tonight to get a taste of how good they could be.
Yes.
And see this all-star backcourt leading them on with so much other NBA and international talent around them. So I absolutely think they could have that and even more. They're capable of beating anybody on a given night.
Now, Paul, I should know this, but I don't. Is the game televised tonight?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
8:30.
On
8:30 out of Vegas.
But on Sportsnet or TSN?
Sportsnet.
Sportsnet. Okay, good. So 8:30 for all of you basketball fans. I know there's a lot of excitement about the Jamal Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander backcourt. Paul, what's your expectations of those two together?
I can't wait to watch them. The thought of having talented players like that paired together is it's delightful. It's delicious for basketball fans and for Canadians to have an NBA champ and one of the leading scorers in the league, a first-team All-NBA player, could have easily been the MVP in the NBA this last year, and has shown in international competition that he can play, and he's going to be the guy that's going to be the big shot-making, shot-taking go-to player. But to feed off him with the Jamal Murray and all of the other pieces they have, I just can't wait to see that backcourt tandem actually come to reality. It's been the dream for a long time in Canada.
What about the rest of it? What would be like? What do you see as the starting five? Like, if those two are in the backcourt, who's up front?
Probably, I'm guessing Lou Dort in the wing as a lockdown defender. That would be my first guess. And maybe it will be RJ as well. Could be RJ Barrett quite easily. Then it's going to get interesting. I'm imagining Olenek will start in the post. I think he's the best of the three posts, and that's the one position I wonder about at the 4 spot. Maybe they'll put Dort at 3 and RJ at 4. Maybe they'll start RJ at 3 and Trey Lyles at 4. But and then there's Dylan Brooks. Most likely, I say that most likely it'll be Brooks. I'm guessing Brooks, RJ, and then Olenek. But I don't have any idea where those three positions will ultimately end up by the time we get to the Olympics, because guys are going to have their opportunity to show how good they are and who fits together the best around their backcourt. And again, to have this kind of talent in Canadian uniforms, especially when the Canadian men's team hasn't been in the Olympics in 24 years, really remarkable. Talk about coming out of a long slump with a bang.
Yeah. Paul Sir joins us. And you look at, what about Team USA, Paul? Where do you come out on them?
They're really good. They're really good. And I can see why people heavily favor them to win. Having said that, some of their stars are they're older players. and some of their better players are younger players. But is Steve Kerr, the men's coach for USA, is he going to honor the older players with starting? They're making up the starting lineup with LeBron, with Steph Curry, with Kevin Durant when he's healthy again. And you go down the row of older guys, but then you've got Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards. It's going to be interesting to see how they blend the old and the young talent together. So they're really good. Joel Embiid deciding to play for the USA in the middle. That's a powerful team. That's a really good basketball team. I don't know that Canada has an answer. It'll be interesting to see what Fernandez does from the coaching standpoint when they play the U.S. and how they defend the post. But we go back to one thing. The backcourt for Canada is as good as anyone in the world, including the USA.
Anthony Edwards, I understand, he's a very confident player. And I wonder how much of it he was just having fun when he's like, well, hey, I think I'm the guy, and that's how I believe I have the guy, and they're going to have to adjust around me. I don't know if it was I watched the whole interview and I was like, okay, because maybe he was tongue in cheek, but I'm like, no, he seemed pretty like that's how he views it. What do you make of that?
I think that's how he sees himself. He sees himself as the best player on the court every time he's on the court, and he's blurting it out. And I think sometimes people, read too much into it and say, what a cocky young guy. He's got to show respect for his, the Trailblazers that got him there. They're on his team. My goodness, you're talking about LeBron and Steph. That's what Edwards thinks. And by the way, that's how American players talk. They are going to have to adjust to him. And it's going to be interesting how Steve Kerr uses him, because Kerr demonstrated he revolutionized the game with Thompson and Curry by letting them go as shooters. Now, will he take a talent like Edwards and let him go, even in spite of all these old guys that are really, really good? I'm curious to see how this works.
What'd you make of the Klay Thompson trade, and do you think he has much left?
I think he has some gas in the tank, and if he can stay healthy, he'll help Dallas, at least give them potentially a more consistent shooting outlet for that team that just didn't have it in the finals against, when they were going up against the powerful Celtics. They just didn't have anybody in the wing that could knock shots down. So is he is certainly not a franchise player anymore. He's a shadow of what he once was. But is he a guy on most nights that can hit threes? Yep. And is he a guy on some nights that can score 20 to 30? Absolutely, as long as he's healthy. And that's the thing. This poor guy has gone through so many operations and so many serious injuries. And that, I think, is reflected in the fact that his effectiveness on the court really took a big dive this year. But the good thing about going to Dallas is he's certainly not going to be relied on. He's going to be a third option or a fourth option, which is probably at this stage of his career where he could be of most value to a team.
Well, lastly, to the women's team, I know their roster came out. Where do you see them? The Canadian men, everybody has the American men and women, I think clearly is the number one seed favorite in both basketball. I don't know who's the clear number two. I think Canada could easily compete with the European nations. What about the women's team? Where do you see them? Are they right in that mix, or is there a clear number two after the U.S.?
I think your assessment's right on the mark, Jason. There is not a clear number two, and it all will come down to how this Canadian unit also gels and it's just going to be how they perform in the Olympics. I can see them finishing they can contend for a medal, definitely. I can see them going out in the quarterfinals. I just have no idea how good this team is going to be. The one thing they don't have, though, and this is, I think, where the concern comes, is they do not have an alpha scorer, that someone like a Gilgeous Alexander is going to be your player. And a couple of the players that they might rely on aren't as consistent as a Gilgis Alexander might be. And again, I don't mean that as an unfair comparison. I just mean they don't have a consistent alpha that when you get in situations, you're just going to get the ball in her hands and clear out, and she's going to make a play. I don't know who that is right now. They've got really good players, but it is going to be a win by committee strategy, and that can be both good and bad. So are they talented enough to compete for a medal? Absolutely, but it really is going to be dependent on chemistry with this team, where Canada might be able to have several players having an off night and having one or two of their great players carry them and still find a way to win.
Paul,
on the men's side.
Awesome, man. We really appreciate your time. Stay cool. We'll talk to you again next week.
I'm always cool, Jason.
There you go. That's Paul Sir, host of the basketball show every Saturday here on Sports 1440. I like it. I'm always cool. Good answer, Paul. Good answer. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, coming in live in the eWell studio, EWEL.ca in West Edmonton Mall. Come back. Lots and lots of texts. We got so many topics today. We'll recap it from video games to Colin Chock and his thoughts on the order prospects in Bakersfield to the best high school themed movies, college themed movies. God, that is a really good debate. Get to all that and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Albatross Roofing and Construction is hiring experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers in Edmonton. Must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy top wages, benefits, and career growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca. Join their expert team today.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers. Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Be melon jolly, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt. And fan favorite, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Stingray All Good Vibes with Prime Video Channels is your ticket to thousands of concerts and karaoke songs. Benefit from the Prime Day promotion between July 10th to 17th. Subscribe today to receive 2 months of service at 99 cents per month.
Welcome to California.
Go to primevideo.com/Stingray for concerts, karaoke, and more. Prime subscription is required.
We are, yeah, I said it, we are. This is Rock Nation. Pledge your allegiance. Get your petites on. All black everything. Black cards, cars, all black, everything. And I girls the blackbirds, riding with they diligence. I get more in depth if you boys really real enough. This is not familiar. I'll explain later. But for now, let me get back.
.546. We continue on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Hey, boys, what about Rudy? Good one. You're a sports guy. Yeah, Cons had remembering the Titans. So, yeah, you'd probably have to have in different categories because we said if you had to pick only one between Dazed and Confused, Old School, Super Bad, and American Pie, how would you rank them? And what would be your number one? Well, some classic high school or college based shows. Now, there's lots of other ones. Oh, no, sorry. Did I say? No, I don't want. I'm taking out American Pie and putting in Dazed and Confused. Did I have Dazed and Confused in Cons? I don't think I did. Yeah.
Don't think so.
Yeah, Dazed and Confused.
You had Fast Times, right?
No, didn't.
No, I didn't have that one?
No, I didn't have that. I don't think it would hold up against the other ones, to be honest. Like, I liked Fast Times at Ridgemont High for its time, but if I look at some of the other ones, I think they're better. So you had now you had some classic. If you just picked a character from those shows, now that would be good. Spicoli, man. As much as I like Superbad, I might like Spicoli, the individual character, better. So.
He is amongst the top. I just wanted to look and see if there's any we're missing. Some people had Regina George from Mean Girls. Good high school movie.
Ooh.
Holds up.
Yeah, I could see it. Very, very different though. I'm like,
yeah.
If I'm going to our audience, now I think because hey, we have Michelle texting in and we have Sarah and Shirley, and so I know we have lots of women listeners too, which is great. But like, I think that's a different. Like, I'm guessing Mean Girls is more of a girls would relate to it more, whereas guys would relate a little bit more to the other one. Is that fair?
I think so.
Like Superbad for sure. Although I know lots of women who love Superbad. Like, it's a great show. But like Mean Girls, like you would relate to it because you see it. Like, we could do a whole study on the difference of the sexes and what our strengths and weaknesses are for both. I know it's hard for some people to think, but there are lots of strengths for the men's sex. Just it doesn't get talked about enough. But nonetheless, we won't go down a tangent road right now. But there are strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes it's a tad more comical when you see the bad sides of the female sex, and vice versa. I'm guessing for the women to see the bad sides of the men. Right? Like Mean Girls is like, I don't know. Is there mean guys? Like there's more. They're just kind of idiots. A few of them, right? But it's just a different level. Like guys eventually, would throw down is what's going to happen. Right. Whereas in, now, obviously I know, hey, trust me, I've been to the Purple Onion. I've been a lot of places. I've seen some women who can throw down. There's no question about it. So, it is just a very different dynamic though. And honestly, I saw Mean Girls once. I don't know if I could tell you a lot about the movie now. I remember at the time I was like, okay, like it was an entertaining movie, but definitely wouldn't be in my top 5. Is it for you?
No. It is good though. I mean, I grew up with 2 sisters, so
see, there you go.
They got thrown on.
100%. So, do they like it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We watched it recently. Actually, holds up. And they made that new one, which was I think a musical, maybe more of Strutty's type. But yeah, let's just stick with the original with that one.
Oh, when they like it wasn't really Mean Girls, but when they were in like the band, is that the one you're talking about? And they go traveling around, they sing.
No, like they legitimately redid Mean Girls, but made it a musical.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how well it went over. There were some videos of it online where the crowd didn't know, and in the theater there's like a collective groan when they start singing. So
Yeah, see, that's the one big difference Stride and I. Like, he loves musicals. I'm not a big musical guy. I've been to a few, but I'm not. It's not my cup of tea. Now, speaking of Stride, I found out today that Easter Seals is going to be having their version of Dancing with the Stars. And their organizer was asking me if I thought Struddy would do it. What do you think my response was?
Of course.
100%.
This is Travolta.
Oh, yeah. But like, after his figure skating runner-up, I think he might want an opportunity to get in there and see. So I did it a few years ago, and and it was quite fun. And it was a lot of work, though. Like, to do a proper salsa dance. Oh my God! Like, thankfully, I had a professional teacher, so she made it a lot better. My partner, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, and it was much harder than I thought it would be. Like, because there's maybe not as harder than I thought it'd be. Just there was little nuances that I didn't expect, and just the importance of timing in that regard is unreal. Hey guys, Superbad's only good for 30 minutes and it goes to crap. Not a great movie. Love Dazed and Confused. Very true to life. I don't know about that. It went off the rails a little bit, but who's never been to a house party that goes off the rails and suddenly there's a fight, right? There was lots of scenes in there that was, but the first 30 minutes were unreal. There's no question about it. First 30 minutes is awesome. It's hard to match that. It would be hard to have that many laughs for a whole show. I don't know if there's any comedy that does. Right? Even in Dazed and Confused, they had every movie has those comedies that has it peaks for a while, and then it comes back, but then it's able to save itself. I like them all. So I could do a whole weekend. We should do like a view. I mean, maybe we'll have to talk to the Princess Theater and say, hey, maybe we could see if we could partner up with them and have like an old school movie watch, and we would sell the tickets for it. That'd be great. Let's get to the comment on a Sports 1440 update brought to you by High Street Insurance, driven by people, not products. They're taking care of people for 10 years, servicing Canadian businesses just like yours. Go to highstreetinsurance.com. Good night. Stay cool.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Earlier today at the Euros, England knocked off Netherlands 2-1, scoring a goal in the 90th minute to advance to the final, where they will take on Spain. That'll go Sunday. Copa America. You got Colombia and Uruguay tonight. Meeting at 6 o'clock down in North Carolina, Bank of America Stadium. Winner of this one gets Argentina on Sunday. The loser will take on Canada on Saturday. Major League Baseball, Jays in action. They'll take on the Giants just after 7:45. Couple games underway right now. Cubs lead the Orioles 2-0. Tigers on top of the Guardians 4-3. Padres at home trail the Mariners 2-0. Yankees have a 2-0 lead over the Rays. And the Phillies lead the Dodgers by that same score. Athletics Red Sox currently scoreless. Later tonight, Astros taking on the Marlins, the Rangers in Anaheim. Diamondbacks host the Braves. And earlier today, it was all doubleheaders. Cards fell to the Royals 6-4. And White Sox over the Twins 3-1 in Game 1. In Game 2, the Twins get revenge, winning 3-2. The Riverhawks are in Wenatchee tonight, that one will get going just after 8 o'clock. And Olympic exhibition basketball, Canada up against the United States. Tip-off 8:30 from Las Vegas. Derek White was named to the U.S. team to replace Kawhi Leonard. And WNBA action. Caitlin Clark had 29 points, 13 assists. Wasn't enough as the Fever fell to the Mystics 89-84. Liberty over the Sun 71-68. The Sky dropped the Dream 78-69. Angel Reese with a double in the victory. Aces over the Storm. And it was the Wings falling to the Mercury 100-84. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we got another edition of Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen